And here we go at 1 o'clock on this Friday. We have finally made it. It is almost the weekend. We have a busy afternoon of news to tell you about, and we want to get straight to the headlines. The big story we are following right now at 1 o'clock has to do with honoring a fallen hero, a soldier who was killed overseas back in July. Taking a live look right now at the service, which is underway in Canton. So here's what we know right now. So a 25-year-old Army officer who died overseas during military service is being laid to rest with full military honors. First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan is being buried today with military honors at the Georgia National Cemetery in Canton. Feehan is being remembered as an exceptional officer, a trusted friend, and a leader. So friends say he lived with courage, humility, and an unwavering belief in the goodness and the potential of others. Flags throughout Georgia have been lowered to half-staff to honor First Lieutenant Feehan. Governor Brian Kemp issued the order following his death last month. Officials have not yet provided exact details, circumstances surrounding the specific incident which led to his death during the operation. It has been reported, however, that he died during Operation Epic Fury, but the Department of War is simply saying he died during an overseas operation. We are certainly monitoring this, and we'll bring you updates throughout the afternoon. And earlier today, community members gathered and lined the road as that procession moved through to take him from the funeral home to the Canton Cemetery, where he is being laid to rest. Our Chris Rosenthal was there as people came out to honor him, and he joins us now live with what people felt. And obviously, it was a moving tribute seeing so many people out there, Chris.
Yeah, it really was a moving tribute as that procession came through here, made a turn to go down Marietta Highway to travel another 8 miles or so to the Georgia National Cemetery. And, you know, watching the procession itself was something special because they were escorted by the Patriot Guard, motorcycle riders. First the Patriot Guard went through, and then came the hearse itself, and of course family and everybody else in that procession. Lots of people were lined up here on the street, several dozen people lined up on the streets. Many of them had American flags or were wearing some sort of American flag shirts. Many of them were veterans. Almost everybody I talked to didn't know Tyler, but they came here and they wanted to pay their respects. It was important to them. Maybe they had some military service of their own, perhaps, and you know, some people even stopped their cars and got out of their cars while they were waiting and paid their respects, were saluting as the procession went by. But I talked with some of the people that were out here watching and saluting and paying their respects to this procession, to Tyler Feehan. And let's take a listen to what they had to say. Thought as you saw that procession go by there today?
He was well loved by family and community.
This gives us some feeling of being able to at least give a tribute.
And why was it important for you to come out here today?
Well, just to honor this guy. You know, he's a veteran. He kind of gave it all. He's over there serving our country, and I'm glad they're over there. And he took the chance, and unfortunately, he was killed. But we need to honor him for that purpose. Yeah.
What do you think when you see a procession like this?
Well, it's good because other people feel the same way, you know, and they're out here and they just want to sort of salute him as he goes by, you know, and thank him and his family for what they've done.
Yeah, though a lot of these people didn't know Tyler. Tyler was from Savannah. You know, I think they felt a connection in some way, and you know, felt you know, a certain amount of reverence towards him and appreciation towards him for his service and his sacrifice. Out here outside Williamson Brother Barbecue, where I'm at now, they lowered their flags to half staff in honor of Tyler Feehan. That funeral underway now, Georgia National Cemetery. Again, just a very you know, special watching the procession go by earlier today.
In Canton right now. Chris Rosenthal, thanks so much for joining us. We're just to recap, since some people are asking in our chat who passed away. This is a 25-year-old Army officer. He is a First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan. He died in Jordan back in July, and you're looking live right now at the funeral, which is underway, or the service rather. He's going to be buried at the Georgia National Cemetery in Canton. That is unfolding right now. That service got underway within the last about hour or so. We'll of course be monitoring it throughout the afternoon and bring you coverage here on Fox 5 News Live, continuing through this afternoon. I want to talk about a story that we just learned within the last about 20 minutes as we continue on here on this Friday afternoon. So new this hour, the father of the Appalachian High School shooter is asking for a new trial. Attorneys for Colin Gray filed the motion this week, just days after he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. And Gray was convicted of multiple crimes, including 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, and along with a number of other counts for some other charges that he faced. The motion argues that the verdict was not supported by evidence and was against the weight of evidence and was contrary to the law. So the father of convicted Appalachian High School shooter Colt Gray gave his son the weapon ultimately used in the killings, and prosecutors argued he was negligent in his role as a parent and didn't do enough to prevent the actual violence. A judge will now decide whether to grant a new trial. We will, of course, stay on top of it for you. And as we continue on here on this Friday afternoon, I want to check in with our assignment manager, Tanya Mendoza, for a look at the other stories that we are working on this busy Friday.
Hi, Tyler. Yes, we're working on several stories today. Angelique Proctor's over at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, where there was a private ceremony that was remembering we were remembering DeKalb County Police Officer David Rose. He was killed while responding to a scene there last year when there was the deadly shooting outside the CDC. Let's listen in. DeKalb County Police Chief was there, and actually we don't have that soundbite right now, but the DeKalb County Police Chief was there. Angelique Proctor did interview him. The officer's family was also there, and we also spoke to some former employees of the CDC while out there. We're also told that Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy attended as well. We will have that story for you later. I do want to mention that the Emory community was holding a memorial via Zoom today, and then there's going to be a private another memorial at Emory tomorrow at one of the chapels. So we will have more on that story a little later. Let's move over to Henry County now, Tyler. That is where Tara Jabor is. Okay, and let's pull up this video here. So a mother contacted Tara after she was extremely upset that a car went around a school bus that was dropping off her daughter. And there you see the video. She wanted to flag us on this, to tell people to be careful, especially right now as students are going back to school. So this was all caught on the family's Ring camera, and Tara is interviewing that family. We'll have that story and more details later today. Tyler.
Certainly a terrifying piece of video there, nearly hitting that child. And I'll say I had to stop for a school bus today. You just know you're supposed to stop when the stop arms are out so that children can safely cross the road. So it'll be certainly interesting to hear what that parent has to say. But I am sure that they're certainly frustrated that this driver, I'm looking at the video on our preview monitor right now, that they did that. Certainly wild, kind of a close call there. Yeah, so go ahead.
And I do want to mention, years ago when I first started here, there was a deadly accident involving an elderly woman who went and did the same thing around a bus and hit a child. I think that was in Cobb County years ago. It was a really tragic story. So, you know, putting this video out there for other parents and drivers to see is a really good idea. Unfortunately, this happened to her daughter, and I'm sure it frightened her, but the more people that see this as a reminder, it may remind them, slow down, stop, do not try to go around a school bus.
Yeah, certainly. Let's take people now to Douglas County, where I believe it's Douglas County, where there was an animal cruelty investigation.
That's right. Kevin's working on this, and he'll have all the details. But I do want to briefly mention that this was a case, and he said it was in the northwest part of the county, and it involved 18 dogs from young puppies to 4 years old. There was a man, let's pull up his mugshot, by the name of Joshua Canup, and he had been arrested in connection with this case. I'm told there was someone else in connection with this case that may have been arrested in the Nashville area. So we will have that information later, but that's what Kevin is working on, and he'll have those details out of Douglas County later, Tyler. And let's back it up real quick to the top story about the CDC deadly shooting. Were you actually working that day, Tyler? Because we all here at Fox 5 remember that shooting. It's in our backyard. People here working that day heard the gunshots, and everyone responded. I had actually left the station that day, and I was on my way home when someone texted me and saying this was going on. So I turned the car around, came back, and as I was trying to enter the station here, tons of cop cars were just responding to that area, which is literally around the corner from us. So I'm glad that the memorial's taking place, today for the officer, and people are stopping by to remember him.
Yeah.
And that his family was there to see the community still remembering him. Tyler?
Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, I had just left our building here, but I was looking at our notifications that we have to see the stories that are developing in real time, and I was seeing that someone had written that they had heard gunshots from the back of our parking lot. I had literally just left probably about 5-10 minutes before all this unfolded, or I probably would have heard those as I was getting ready to leave. Just a wild story, but your heart just goes out to the DeKalb County Police Department, David Rose's family, the officer who was killed, because he was just trying to do his job, responding to the call for service, which was that there was a shooting unfolding just outside of the Emory campus over at that, just across from the CDC as well. And he pulled up and he tried to do his job, but this gunman allegedly started opening fire on him and ultimately killed him. But
and
nice to see the community showing up to pay tribute to him.
I believe the street there was renamed in his memory as well. So Proctor will have more on that for us later, but I just wanted to go back and kind of, go over that story again, because it was something that affected all of us.
No,
Tyler?
Yeah, certainly affected all of us, being so close, but also just knowing that something like this happened in our community. Again, an officer was just trying to do his job and unfortunately was gunned down as he was trying to stop this person who was apparently shooting up the area, and ultimately he lost his life.
Hundreds of rounds at the building. And the suspect, Patrick Joseph White, was shot and killed by police that day.
Yeah.
Tyler?
Tanya Mendoza, thanks so much for the update on the stories we're working on. We'll be looking for all of them during Fox 5 News Live at 2 and 3 o'clock. Let's see if we can take a live look outside on this Friday afternoon. Certainly a cloudy day out there, and I'm not sure. I think I could see some rain off in the distance pointing west towards, I guess that's Cobb County, out towards Douglas County, out towards the western portions of our area. Let's get a check of the forecast with Fox 5 Team Meteorologist Greg Majeski. Greg, is that rain that I saw?
Yeah, we got some rain walking around. I'm just kind of messing around with the radar a little bit, but we're going to kind of do a little tour here, show you where the rains are falling right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. We're starting up into the north, getting some showers and storms up near Feehan County right now, getting some storms there. Notice these things. One thing I want folks to pay attention, when these things blow up like this, notice they're not moving all that much. There's really not much steering out there. So basically, you got to wait for these things to kind of rain themselves out, and then you'll get more activity elsewhere. Here's what you were looking at, Tyler. You're seeing some of these storms here just off toward our west here in full. Yeah, they came up very quickly as we were getting the daytime heating there coming on in here. So this is just off toward the west of the metro area right now. Could be sneaking back up to Smyrna. I know they had a rain delay last night for the Braves game. Looks like they may be getting some rain moving up that way yet again. But fortunately, the Braves are out of town now, so I don't have to worry about that. And we got some more rains down here toward the south as well, coming back into Meriwether County. The stuff that we had earlier there in Coweta County kind of fizzled on out a little bit there. But again, we'll get some more stuff to form up here for later this afternoon. So there's the big picture right now. Kind of see where everything is currently falling here across the area, and we'll continue with the hide and seek, pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Again, some will get a little wet and some won't. That's how it goes this time of year. And there's those storms looking back to the west. You can kind of see the downpours there from Mercedes-Benz Stadium there. So definitely some wet weather in the area. And again, these things aren't moving very fast, so they will dump some pretty good rains. And at the airport officially, hearing a little bit of thunder and lightning down there being detected. 82 degrees right now with a southeast wind at 8 miles per hour. And that will continue. So the forecast here for this afternoon continues with the scattered storms, and going to try to top out into the upper 80s for most folks, and mid-80s up in the mountains for this afternoon as we continue to go along. If you want some cooler weather, I had to show this because when I saw the temperature up there in Rapid City, it's 72 degrees up there. They had a little fall air mass kind of drop down there. I was like, oh man, I'd love to get that stuff down here, but unfortunately that's not coming anytime soon. We're going to continue to bake and be kind of hot and steamy. So scattered showers, thunderstorms will continue here for this afternoon and through Saturday and Sunday. Again, just plan on that those hours basically between 12 o'clock and heading out toward going toward the 7-8 o'clock hour, that 8-hour period. That's when you're going to get these scatter storms to start popping up. And as we look at the forecast here for the rest of this afternoon, we'll get up upper 80s to near 90, mid 80s in the mountains here for this afternoon. Overnight lows tonight, about where they're supposed to be, 72 degrees here in Atlanta. Some 60s up there toward Blairsville and over toward Blue Ridge and Clayton. They'll be cooler up that way as usual. And the rest of the 7-day forecast, as we kind of look at this thing, looking a little bit, looking a little bit on the unsettled side there. Yeah, don't laugh at me, Tyler. My chair decided to go down on me, folks, but that's okay. You didn't see it. So anyway, we are looking at scattered showers and storms here throughout the week. Temperatures around 90 and overnight lows and low 70s. I'm sure you got a thrill out of that, didn't you?
I was like, whoa, you went down.
Hey, I'm just so glad it wasn't on camera. That we were. Thank you. I got to say thank you, Mr. Producer over here, for not having us up, because if it was, it would look really funny.
Oh my God, you went like
I
so
went.
hard.
Down I went. What are you gonna do?
Magic of live TV. Greg, thank you. Okay. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox Updates Live at 1 o'clock. We're gonna be. Can you believe it? We're already talking holiday travel, Christmas and Thanksgiving. Apparently now is the time to start
probably
buying
is the now.
tickets.
Yeah, I gotta talk to my daughter in LA if she wants to come home or not. Yeah, that's good.
We'll be talking to a travel expert about that just ahead.
I'll listen.
Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. The time now is 1:19. We have made it to Friday. Thank goodness for this. Let's get straight to a story that we are following and has to do with something that's going to affect you all weekend, and that is the I-285 shutdown. You need to get ready for it. The west side of 285, you're looking at a map on your screen, from Paces Ferry Road down to South Atlanta Road, will be shut down this weekend, and the closure starts at 7 o'clock tonight and will be in place until 5 o'clock on Monday morning. Roadside and overhead signs will direct traffic on the detour route. This is all part of that rehabilitation project. This is what I think closure number 5, 6, or 7 of what's probably going to be 30 to 40 over the course of the next several years as they basically rebuild a huge portion of that 285 on the west side of town. GDOT says the lane closures are necessary to provide enough space for crews to work safely and protect motorists while large equipment is in operation. GDOT, as always, is telling folks to make sure they plan ahead because traffic will be impacted during this closure. As we come back into the newsroom, we want to talk about travel now. If you are thinking about going somewhere for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, if you wait any longer, it could really cost you. New data shows holiday airfare is already up significantly more than it was this time last year, and experts say now is the time to start looking for those flights and locking them in so you can try to get that best deal. Joining us now is travel expert Clint Henderson with the Points Guy to help us navigate this holiday booking season. Clint, thanks so much for being here this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you that it's time to book holiday flights already, but here we are.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, we're 3 months and a couple weeks away from Thanksgiving, 4 months away from Christmas. I think people like to get in the holiday spirit, but this seems a little early to be having to think about it. Why is now the time to start that purchase for either Thanksgiving or Christmas or any of your holiday travel?
Yeah, I write all the best time to book flight stories at the Points Guy, and usually our advice is you can wait until 1 to 3 months ahead of time for domestic flights. But this year we're throwing the usual guidance out the window because fuel prices have raised prices so much, and unfortunately the airlines have gotten very used to those higher ticket prices. We saw airfare rise by some 27% in June alone. And so, but the airlines are saying even if the cost of fuel drops, they're not going to reduce the price of tickets necessarily. So all that leads to us telling people, go ahead and lock in your flights now if you can for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. Already so far this year, Thanksgiving fare is up about 13%. Christmas fare is up around 18%. So unfortunately, we think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And so I think you should go ahead and lock in your trips now if you can. If you can't, go ahead and set some Google flight alerts, monitor the prices. But if you see a deal right now, you should jump on it.
And so obviously fuel prices are probably driving the biggest impact. And as you said, that even if fuel prices drop, they're not going to lower prices. I mean, obviously everyone's a business. They want to make some money. I mean, a lot of people might assume that they might see some deals pop up. I mean, is that not a good thinking this year?
For the trips home for the holidays, I don't think it's a good idea. I think there are still some deals to be had, but only if you have extreme flexibility. So, if it doesn't matter when you take your week-long vacation, that's great. But if you're trying to get home the week of Thanksgiving on this specific route at this specific time, unfortunately, you're going to pay through the nose if you wait until last minute. So remember that airfare usually in the last 2 weeks before the trip spikes the most because they're counting on business travelers to pay those really high fees. Now, all this to be said, go ahead and book now if you can, but there's great tools out there now that will monitor the prices for you. And if the price drops, so long as you haven't booked basic economy, you can get an automatic trip credit for the price difference. So that gives you a little reassurance that even if you didn't get the best deal, if a deal does pop up, these websites will monitor the prices for you and automatically get you trip credits. I've saved about $1,000 this year that way. I've used 2 services. One is called Genova with a J, and the other one is called Payback, Paiback. There's another one that I'm trying called Autopilot. They all do essentially the same thing. They'll monitor your reservations, and if the price drops, they get you automatic trip credits. Now, you do have to pay a little bit to them. It's like 20% of what they saved you, but you're still saving quite a bit on flights. So that gives me peace of mind that even if I book stuff now, even if the price drops, I'll still be able to get something for that.
Yeah, and that sounds honestly like a great thing. I didn't even know things like that existed. Obviously, I have looked myself over the course of periods of time. If I book a flight, let's say now for 3 months, 4 months from now, I'll check every so often to see if the price drops, and then have to manually do it as long as you're booking that main cabin fare as opposed to the basic. Are there good places to go right now if you're planning to go anywhere for the holidays, or book right now rather, that are shoulder seasons that time, that you could find a good deal if you're not even looking to go see family?
Yeah, so we are still seeing really good deals to places like Europe and Asia even. You'd be surprised how many deals I see for those things. Even using miles like Delta, a lot of you guys in Atlanta are stuck with Delta. There's some really good mileage sales with Delta miles right now, and that's not usually the case. So, if you're willing to go anywhere in the world, if you've had your heart set on Tokyo or Taipei or Hong Kong, there's some really good deals out there to be had using your miles, and also some cash deals. You just have to be really flexible and be willing to go where the deals are.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, we just posted something on our website, I think it was on Wednesday, and that story has gone viral about Delta's new Saudi Arabia flight to Riyadh.
Yeah,
they're like essentially giving away those seats. I think we found
remember, you need a visa for Saudi Arabia. That's the problem with that one.
Yeah, it's like 45,000 miles round trip, and like somewhere around $600. So there are places, and I've certainly seen other fare sales, because Delta will sometimes email us to let us know. We don't post everyone, but Saudi Arabia was obviously a topic that put it on our website because of the Iran situation. But so there are definitely places to go if you don't want to see family and you want to go explore somewhere new, and might be a good time to do it and book it now.
Yeah, and remember, the US dollar is really strong. So some of these countries you go to, like Japan, you can get some really good deals if you find a deal on the airfare first. That's my key recommendation. But anywhere that Delta is flying that they have, they're not filling the plane completely. That's a lot of these new routes from the West Coast to Asia. We've seen this with some of the flights like you've been on to Morocco. They do have sales on those planes because they want to fill up those planes. So you just gotta hunt and peck for those deals, and that's why websites like the Points Guy are such good resources for people, because we do talk about those things when they pop up.
And lastly, before we let you go, what's your one tip for people right now and travel mistakes that people might make as they prepare for the holiday travel period?
Yeah, there's a myth that if you wait till Tuesday at midnight that you can score a good deal. That's not really true, but it is true that if you travel on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday, you'll get better deals because there's less business travelers going. And finally, Google Flights Explorer. I have a guide at the Points Guy on this. Check it out. Put in your home airport. It opens up a map of the world, shows you the cheapest places you can go. It's a really good tool.
Clint Henderson, travel expert from the Points Guy. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon to talk holiday travel. Can't believe we're already talking about it, and we are August 7th right now.
Yeah, Christmas in July and August.
Thanks so much for joining us, Clint. I really appreciate it. And as we come back into the newsroom, something that's a lot closer is certainly professional football. You're taking a live look at Mercedes-Benz Stadium right now, where we are 1 week away from professional football returning to Atlanta. The Falcons will kick off the preseason hosting the Denver Broncos at the Benz next Friday at 7 o'clock. And as we count down to that first preseason game, training camp, it's underway up in Flowery Branch, and our Justin Felder was there all morning long talking about how the Falcons are preparing. Let's check in with him.
Here with Falcons linebacker Channing Tindall. First of all, how's camp going for you so far?
Camp's going pretty good so far. Just trying to take it first year here, so just trying to absorb all the knowledge that I can and just be a good teammate to all my teammates.
You come in, what's the biggest thing you've learned about the Falcons organization in year one?
Consistency. So every day is Groundhog Day. We're doing the same thing constantly, but every day we're trying to get 1% better on that one thing and don't make the same mistakes every day.
Tell me about that linebacker room. Who have you leaned on, as you learn a new defense, learn a new team, a new facility?
All the linebackers in the room are great, but I want to say Devon Diablo. He just has a lot more experience than everybody else in the room, and he's been playing that main Mike position, and just leaning on him, just get a feel of like what it is to be a Falcon outside of just the playbook too has all been great for me.
Yeah, what's Devon like just as a guy to be around? Because we all saw him last year just explode on the scene.
He's a laid back type of guy. He's cool. He's like a down to earth. He don't say too much, but he's very personable when we're talking to him.
How do you view your role as training camp's been evolving so far?
They pat me a little bit everywhere at the Mike and Will position. They're playing on the edge a little bit too, so I'm just take wherever they want to put me, that's where I'm gonna be.
And that seems like a thing for Jeff Ulbrich, is moving guys around. We've seen that quite a lot. Is that something you expected, playing Mike, Will on the edge?
Yeah, wherever they wanted me to be, I was ready for anything, so it really didn't matter to me.
Do you like that, trying to get after the quarterback a little bit, getting opportunities on the edge?
I do. I definitely do. I love the rush, so yes.
You've also earned a reputation through your career as a key special teams player. What does it take to be a reliable, valuable contributor on special teams?
Just handling the fundamentals for real. All special teams is really fundamental. So just knowing how to tackle a base form or juke or get past the defender. It just all comes down to the things that you learn when you first start learning football.
We're 1 week away from the first preseason game, which is crazy to say. Seems like it's coming up so soon. How do things shift around camp when you're actually preparing for an opponent?
We take every day like it's any other day. So like we go 100% every day. So I'm taking it like it would just be any other day of practice because I give my all every day. So it's nothing new for real.
Got to ask you, as a UGA guy, you know, we're of course covering the University of Georgia a ton. How do you look back on your time in Athens and how it shaped you into the player you are today?
Just the grind of everything, just from a mental and physical standpoint. Georgia, especially like just being with Coach Smart and those boys down there, just that was like a constant grind. Something I didn't know about myself that kind of brung it out, and so it prepared me for just the league in general, just the constant grind. You have to be on your tiptoes every single day regardless of what the outcome might be.
Can you believe 11 years for Kirby that he's been there? This is going to be year 11. You were right there in the middle. I mean, do you feel like he's mellowed out at all?
Coach Smart's still Coach Smart. I haven't seen him in a while, but he's still gonna get on them boys. He's still gonna be him. He's still gonna be a coach, which I feel like you need in order to be here on the next level for real. So I wouldn't take anything away from him from that standpoint.
Can you believe a Kirby Smart team is gonna be wearing all white helmet, white jersey, white pants?
Hold on, I didn't even know about that.
Oh, we're breaking some news here.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
Right?
We've been asking for that for years now, so I'm happy and excited to see how they're gonna be fresh to those.
It's week 2, so Western Kentucky, they're gonna wear the all white. Any like, I mean, do players lobby for that? Because you see all the recruit pictures in the all white.
Man, you've been asking for different outfits for ages, man. It's just always been them silver breeches, man. But hey, change is change. Well, I guess Coach Smart is changing a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I love that, Chad. And as we're looking now, Saturday Night Lights practice, let's talk about this now. For fans who want to get a glimpse of the Falcons at practice, there's going to be a special Saturday Night Lights edition of training camp. It's happening tomorrow night. Today's Friday, so tomorrow's Saturday. It's being held at Lanier High School beginning at 7 p.m. Those are all the details you need right now. It's at 918 Buford Highway Northeast in Sugar Hill. Team practice is free and open to all fans, but you do have to secure tickets online first. Gates open at 6. Parking is free, and there is a limited opportunity to get player autographs. You can head to Atlanta Falcons' website for ticket information. Stick around for some of the latest stories that are trending on our website, fox5atlanta.com, and Fox Local. Our Joyce Lupiani will join me in just 2 minutes. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. The time now is 1:34 on this Friday afternoon. It is finally Friday. It is now time to get a check of the stories that are trending right now on fox5atlanta.com and Fox Local. My good friend Joyce Lupiani joins us now with what is trending. This first story, Joyce, incredibly tragic. I mean, first of all, who would throw a kitten, let alone three, out of a window of a car that's moving?
I don't know. I certainly cannot imagine that. And if you haven't seen this story, what Tyler is talking about is a Brookhaven woman who is now facing felony animal cruelty charges after she threw kittens from a moving car. A witness followed the vehicle and gave police a license plate, and that's how they were able to track her down. One of the kittens, unfortunately, was found dead, but another one survived and is being treated. Not really sure what's going on with the third kitten. I think the third kitten is actually missing, so they are still looking for that kitten. The suspect, she's a 25-year-old woman named Valentina, and she has been released on bond. I'm not really sure when she's supposed to go back to court, but we will continue to follow this story and provide updates on our website just as soon as we find out that information.
Yeah, I mean, that is an incredibly tragic story. I was reading it earlier today. It was a story that our Rob DiRienzo did last night. I mean, just to hear the allegations are incredibly sickening. Apparently these three kittens were just thrown out. I'm glad a witness, I guess, saw this so that they could report this, but that's an incredibly tragic story.
Yes, it is. The next story is about this group of teens and juveniles who were apparently breaking into vehicles in Newton County. And, you know, obviously, people are interested in this because, unfortunately, that type of thing does happen to people. And plus, just like there were so many of them in their ages, because they're all between like 17, 19 years old. Actually, 6 of them are between 17 and 19, and 3 of them were minors, and we don't know exactly how old they were. So, I mean, this is a pretty young group of guys that have been doing this. They're all still in custody. We have a lot more of the details, on the website as to what charges they're facing. And you can see we do have the mugshots associated with the ones that are, they're teens, but they are between 17 and 19. So that kind of makes them adults in the eyes of the law. So we do have their mugshots, but we don't have the mugshots for the other 3 who are minors.
And obviously, a reason people are probably interested, it makes your blood boil when your car gets broken into or your car gets stolen, because unfortunately in Atlanta we see a lot of stories like that. But let's talk about something fun, because it's Friday. Let's talk about the things to do. You always put together this whole web story on fox5atlanta.com and the Fox Local app that just tells you everything that you can do this weekend.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge list this week. And, there's plenty of events for both adults and children. And many of the events are free. I always try to find ones that, pretty much anyone can go to. And, like you said, it's Metro Atlanta. It's not just Metro Atlanta, it's North Georgia. So it's like all the surrounding counties and cities. For example, Chamblee is wrapping up their summer concert series. They're going to have the boy band review, and they'll be performing like popular songs from all the popular, boy bands in the past. And then if you live near Lawrenceville, Pandora's Box, and they're really good. I've heard them a couple of times. They're like a Aerosmith tribute band. They're going to be performing out there on the lawn. Both of those are free. There's also like a pretty big international film festival that's happening at the Strand Theater in Marietta. And the Atlanta Festival of Culture is happening in Piedmont Park. So, like I said, it's a huge list. We even have events that are coming up, so you can kind of like put it on your calendar and buy tickets if you have to. But it's a huge list, and you just go to our homepage, and it's there's a link to it kind of on the right-hand side towards the bottom of the page.
Certainly something for everyone on that list. So if you want to get outside, there's things outside. If you want to stay indoors, there's things for that. If you're looking for sporting events, anything and everything, you always put it in there and make sure people know what is happening in our community. Joyce Lupiani, thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live to tell us about the stories that are trending right now. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Tyler.
And it's time to talk about something that is happening this weekend that is certainly on that list. It's Atlanta's only retro horror and sci-fi convention. So our Paul Milliken has a preview of Monsterama with some legendary actors.
Hey everybody, it's me, the incredible shrinking Paul, and I'm fighting off the spider this morning as we launch Monsterama Con, my favorite weekend of the year. This is Metro Atlanta's only retro horror and sci-fi convention. It is filled with screenings and shoppings and celebrity guests, including a really good lineup, and we spoke to a lot of them on Good Day Atlanta. So we're talking about Catherine Lee Scott and Jim Storm of the gothic soap opera Dark Shadows. I was obsessed with Dark Shadows growing up. And the one and only French Stewart, known best to audiences from Third Rock from the Sun. So we talked to all of them on Good Day Atlanta about being here in Atlanta and meeting fans for the weekend. We are celebrating 60 years of Dark Shadows. How does that sound when you hear that?
Incredible.
Yeah.
But you know, from the very first day, I think we knew that we were doing something special, not something that would last 60 years,
Right.
but you know, yeah.
And I was telling you before, I feel like when I watch shows like Widow's Bay and other shows today, I see the DNA of Dark Shadows. It was pioneering. Do you think so too?
It was ahead of its time all the way around. Yeah. And I think Dan is really responsible for all of that.
Absolutely. The great Dan Curtis, who was just amazing. Now, the funny thing is, you know, look, I mean, you guys now have been doing this a long time. When you were on Dark Shadows, you were kids. This was your first job, right?
Yes, when I think of 60 years, I realize it's also the launch of my career. Yes, it was my very first job. I'd never been on camera before. So
incredible.
Yes.
So were you literally learning day by day?
Absolutely, but we were learning from the best. We had Grayson Hall, Joan Bennett, Louis Edmonds, Thayer David. We were learning from these wonderful seasoned actors.
Absolutely.
That was fabulous.
Yeah, but it was done at such a fast pace. This was a daily soap, so there was no room for error. And if there was an error, you kept going, right?
Yeah, boy, there was no stopping.
Yeah.
When you go for it, and that was it. You just went, and some very funny things happened along the way.
Look, I mean, you'll see boom mics, you'll see actors forgetting lines. It's so fun to watch.
You'll see dead bodies moving. Yes.
Absolutely. French Stewart, it's so good to see you. I was going to say welcome to Atlanta, but you're a Georgia guy. You are based here in Metro Atlanta, so this is in your own backyard, right?
I live here. I love it. You know, we came here after the pandemic and just settled in, and it's been lovely. I just love it.
Yeah, we love you being here. And so you'll be here this weekend at Monsterama Con. You've done this convention before.
I have.
It's so fun.
It's really one of my favorites, you know. It's a manageable size. You get to really meet people.
Yeah.
You get to sit there, talk to people, get the fans. They know more about your career than you do.
Do people ever bring up things that you forgot that you did?
Oh, yeah. Somebody was like, oh, you know, I liked you in Caroline on the Sea. I was like, I was on Caroline on the Sea? I don't remember that.
Well, and so that's the thing about your career, though, is that you've done so much over the years. I mean, it's like, like Stargate or something. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like literally like all these things that you show up in. What do most people recognize you from, you think?
You know, a lot of it is Third Rock. But if they're younger than Inspector Gadget, it really just depends. You know, sometimes it's just some weird guest spot you did.
You just never know what's going to resonate. As you can tell, I was geeking out all morning. I am so into all of these movies and TV shows, and if you are too, this is the place to be. So Monsterama Con launches this afternoon, runs through Sunday. There are 3-day passes and 1-day passes available. You can get them at the door or online on the Monsterama website. For now, I'm Paul Milliken, fighting off the giant spider. Back.
And if you missed any of the details about Monsterama Con, you can head to our website, fox5atlanta.com, and just navigate over to the Good Day Atlanta section. I want to see if we can take you back out live to Canton now, where they are honoring right now a fallen service member who passed away in Jordan. He was serving our country, military service. This all happened, we're hearing, during Operation Epic Fury. And you can see the action that's unfolding right now. His burial got underway at about noon, so it looks like things are getting ready to wrap up. He's being laid to rest with full military honors at Georgia National Cemetery. He is First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan. He's 25 years old. He's from the Bryan County area, and he is being laid to rest here in our areas. We are now paying tribute to a fallen service member. Feehan is being remembered as an exceptional officer, a trusted friend, and a leader. And friends say he lived with courage, humility, and unwavering belief in the goodness and potential of others. You can see a lot of folks coming out to show support as his family says goodbye. Again, he was killed last month in Jordan, serving our country. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're going to keep you up to date on that, and we'll have a whole lot more. We're going to talk about a rescue that happened near the coast in just about 2 minutes. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live on this Friday afternoon. The time now is 1:47. We're so glad you're here. So let's talk about car seats. We know that they are vitally important for kids, especially when they're too small to be able to sit in a car without one. But an improperly installed car seat can actually be dangerous, even more dangerous likely, if it's not put in correctly. And many experts say parents don't realize the exact need of making sure it is properly installed. So Maria Guzman is live in Gwinnett County, where families are learning how to keep their little ones safe. Maria, I don't have any kids, but I have done a couple stories on this before. It's just always intriguing to me that there is a right and a wrong way to put these in. Just because you have a car seat doesn't mean it is going to be safe for them.
That is right, Tyler. Listen, I also don't have any kids, but I do have a nephew, so now I know. And one big thing I learned is that there is an expiration date. So they did this event, the Gwinnett County Police Department. They worked together with the Public Health Department as well to really help any families and answer them any questions. Now, one big question they always get is, when is it time for my child to move from like a child infant seat, just let's say, to a booster? And so I got a chance to speak with one of the officers here on what are some of the things you need to take into account as your child grows. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
So how do you know when it's time to move up, right? Like I said initially, is you want to look at the actual car seat. So on this car seat, it's going to tell you up to what age and height requirements do you want to have them, right? Then we move up to this right here. This is one of those that we called convertibles because they can be either rear facing as well as forward facing. And it's going to tell you on here, rear facing should be for a kid that's 5 to 40 pounds and 19 to 37 inches tall. Once they outgrow the rear facing, then they're ready to move up to a forward facing, and then they can go forward facing up to 40 pounds as well, and the height goes up to 40 inches. So we tell parents it's best practice is to keep your child facing rear as long as possible. Once they outgrow the forward facing, then they're ready to move up to the next seat, right? We have some that we call all-for-ones. All-for-ones are those that are designed for the car seat to face rear, forward, and then transition into a booster. What we have here is a high back booster, right? This high back boost is designed to boost up that child off the ground, off the car seat, where now the seat belt is closer to their chest instead of their neck. And then on these high back boosters, you also see that it's gonna have a route for your seat belt, where it's gonna force that seat belt to come down closer to that chest where you wanna have it, because this is our strongest area on the body when it comes to the seat belts. And if we look at this one here, you can go up to 120 pounds. So the child must be at least at a minimum 40 pounds, up to 120 pounds, and minimum 44 inches to a maximum of 57 inches. And then once they outgrow that, you can get rid of the the back on these car seats as well, come out, and then you can take it all the way off once the child's a little bigger if they still need that boost for that. There is a misconception as to if my child now is a bigger child. He's 6, but he's tall, and he's a little, what we look at is actually the internal organs, the development of the body. So Georgia law says any child under 8 years old must be, or 8 years and under must be in a child's seat.
Now, if you have any questions, if you're a parent, you're able to go to the Georgia Department of Public Health and you're able to ask for the Child Occupant Safety Project, and they can answer any of your questions regarding your car seat, Tyler.
All good advice for everyone. And you said something off the top that car seats have an expiration date. No idea about that. You just taught me something new. Maria Guzman, thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We'll check in with you a little bit later on. Let's continue on here and talk about a very unique story that we are learning about. A first of its kind rescue in Georgia after a manatee became dangerously entangled in crab trap lines. It took a multi-state team 2 days to actually free the animal near St. Simon's Island. And Jessica Thompson with the Georgia DNR's Marine Mammal Program helped lead that effort and joins us now live. Jessica, thanks so much for being here this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share with you all about manatees and what our program does regularly.
So let's start here. This is a first of its kind rescue. How did you guys find out about this manatee that was in distress?
So a charter captain called Georgia DNR to let us know about the entangled manatee. He had dropped off his clients and was heading back out to do some fishing, personal fishing, and he came across the manatee during his travels. And so he called us. He was able to provide us with really valuable information, not only that he thought that a manatee was entangled, but with video, photos, and the exact location of where the manatee was. He also stayed with the manatee. Not all people can do that depending on their schedule, but he was able to stay on scene until we got there with all of our gear and crew.
And so one of the pieces of video we were just watching as you were talking there was down on the water level, and you can kind of see it's, I'm going to get it wrong, the flipper maybe. You could see it severely entangled. It looks like it's like bleeding. Was this life-threatening for this manatee?
Yes, this was definitely a life-threatening case. So when we got to the scene, we were able to observe that it had wraps around its head, like you can see from the drone footage you have on screen right now. But because of the turbidity of our water, we weren't able to see how it was wrapped around the pectoral. We were able to see that it was still attached to a crab pot, and it was sitting in the mud. It was low tide, and so that manatee would have had to drag it through the mud. Potentially that could have anchored it so that it wouldn't be able to come up to breathe at high tide. And so we had to move quickly that day to make sure that it could at least get to the surface at all tides. And we attached a satellite tracking tag to the remaining line on the manatee. We were doing this as storms were rolling in, so we weren't able to continue our operations once lightning was super close, but we were able to get that tag on, and that tag allowed us to find the manatee the next day.
So a 2-day process. I mean, how dangerous? I mean, obviously people may look at a manatee and say they're gentle and they appear to be slow, but how dangerous was this for you guys to be able to make sure that this manatee could be free?
Well, there's always risk involved when you're handling wildlife, but especially large charismatic marine mammals, when they're under stress, when they have a calf with them, they're much more powerful than people assume. And so anything with a line, if you got that accidentally wrapped around your wrist, it could be really, really dangerous for the responding crew. So even if they look calm, they can be really powerful, and it can be a dangerous situation. The other thing is, some folks think, oh, well, if I cut this line at this point, that perhaps I rescued the manatee and the manatee swims off, but it still had more line on it. So it's really important to have trained responders response to these calls, because you never know the full extent of the injuries. And we want to be able to assess the whole situation and make sure that in the end, the manatee is completely free, assess if it needs to go to a rescue facility, or if any other actions need to take place.
We're quickly running out of time here, but I wanted to mention this. You said, or at least based off the news release, she may have been a mama and had her calf possibly there with her. How did that play a role in this? Because that tugs at my heartstrings.
Yeah, so there were actually 2 animals really closely associated. One was very small, so we're assuming that was at least one calf, if not twins. There was debate amongst all the biologists. It has been documented, but it's very, very rare. And so it plays a role because they stayed very close to her. We were hoping that we would use a special capture boat to bring her onto the back of the boat, and that's what Florida Fish and Wildlife brought up with U.S. Fish and Wildlife staff, that we'd be able to bring her onto the boat, disentangle her on the boat, but there is a danger to trying to trap more than one manatee. It can be really dangerous for the responders, but it could lead to injury or drowning for the manatees that were accidentally captured in the net. So we decided to pivot and go to a boat side disentanglement and see if we had success that way. And luckily we did.
And before we go, is she doing okay?
We saw her swim off because we weren't able to put her on the boat. We weren't able to put a satellite tag, a permanent satellite tag on her. So we're hoping that she and her calf are healing and munching on all that wonderful marsh grass we have on our coast.
Jessica Thompson from DNR, thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live today. I really do appreciate it. And that is going to do it for us for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. I'm Tyler Fingert. Ariel Onstadt will be joining you at the top of the hour.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being live with us here at 2 o'clock. We've got a full Friday of news to get to. We're going to talk about some national headlines, including the latest on a new report on Doge and how it might not have saved the federal government the money it expected, as well as new policies and rules that ICE is hoping to institute regarding body cam footage. That is upcoming. But first, let's start closer to home. I want to talk about new details we're getting regarding Colin Gray, who is officially asking for a new trial. The father of convicted Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray was convicted of second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and child cruelty, and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Now, his attorneys had said they plan to appeal the conviction, and this filing for a new trial argues 3 key points. Number 1, it says the verdict is contrary to evidence and without evidence to support it. Number 2, it says the verdict is decidedly and strongly against the weight of the evidence. And number 3, it says the verdict is contrary to law and the principles of justice and equity. So those are the 3 principles by which they are arguing for a new trial for Colin Gray. Keep in mind, Colin Gray gave his son Colt Gray the weapon ultimately used in the killings, and that was something that prosecutors used in their arguments, as they said that Colin was negligent in his role as a parent and didn't do enough to prevent the violence that ultimately unfolded at Appalachia High School in September of 2024. Now, Gray's attorneys have largely been successful in arguing for a lesser prison sentence. Prosecutors had been arguing for a much stiffer penalty, and he ultimately got 15 years in prison. We'll keep you updated as this continues to progress forward, but wanted to get that update in for you guys. Let's talk now about something unfolding today. First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan, a native here of Georgia, was killed in action in Jordan, and he is being laid to rest in Canton today with military honors. Our Ray Reina joins us live, and Ray has been chronicling the events of the day. Ray, a tragedy, the entire community coming out to pay their respects.
Absolutely, Ariel, and that ceremony just finished not too long ago. So the family, friends, and everyone who gathered at the shelter behind me, they are now heading on the far side of the cemetery where First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan will be laid to rest. Now, First Lieutenant Feehan, he was just 25 years old when he was killed in action back on July 18th while serving overseas in Jordan. The Department of Defense says he was just killed during a overseas operation, but didn't give too many details as to what that operation was about. But in attendance today, you had his parents, you had his fiance, of course, and all of his family and friends. You had Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. He was in attendance today. They all spoke inside the shelter right behind me here at the Georgia National Cemetery in Canton. And if I flip the camera here, you can see that there's a lot of headstones lined head to toe. They're all in a straight line. Now, when it comes to Feehan's grave in particular, we have learned that Feehan will actually be buried right next to his grandfather, who died 5 days after Feehan was killed in action overseas. I've been told by volunteers here at the National Cemetery here in Canton that this is exceedingly rare that they're able to make that happen. So that's what the family is going to do right now. They're going to lay Tyler Feehan to rest with military honors. And earlier during the ceremony, you had a rifle volley where 3 service members fired 3 shots each in honor of Feehan. You also had a rendition of taps that was played, but you also had a lot of military proceedings. His casket was escorted out by the color guard and the honor guard and all of that. And we had the Patriot Guard riders. They also helped lead the procession into the cemetery. But I want to play a sound bite really quick that we got from his mother talking about the questions that she still has after her son was killed overseas.
There are moments in life when we search for answers, but none come. There are questions that mortality simply cannot answer. Why now? Why him? Why does a parent have to bury their only child? These questions echo in silence to me, and there's no explanation on earth that can
and you could just hear the passion and the sadness in her voice, saying that there are no explanations to these questions that she has right now following her son's death. And again, he's on his way now to go be laid to rest in a grave right next to his grandfather, which again, volunteers at the National Cemetery say is exceedingly rare. But a little bit about First Lieutenant Feehan. He was avid Braves and Falcons fan here locally. He was also big into Legos. He also leaves behind his fiance and his many friends and family who showed up today to pay respects with him as he was laid to rest with military honors. Ariel?
Ray, heartbreaking, a young life just beginning, his family grieving the loss, and the community coming together to pay their respects to him. Remarkable, like you said, that they were able to make that exception, allow him to be buried next to his grandfather. Ray, thank you for your reporting, for joining us live. We'll continue to keep you updated as this progresses. But Ray, thanks for joining us with the latest. I'd like to take you out now along the procession. We saw people gather to pay their respects to Tyler Feehan, and our Chris Rosenthal went out to where people were asked to stage to pay their respects to his service. And Chris joins us live now. Chris, I recognize that the procession is over. What did you see earlier today?
Yeah, you know, a lot of these people that showed up here today, they didn't know Tyler Feehan. Many of them, you know, just didn't know him, but they still felt it was very important to come on out here and take the time to pay the respects as the procession went by. The procession came down the road, made a left-hand turn, went down Marietta Highway, where it traveled about another 8 miles or so to Georgia National Cemetery. But, you know, it was a really, really somber affair, but a very poignant one as well as the procession came by. It was, it started with the Patriot Guard riders. They are motorcycle riders that often escort these military servicemen. They are deceased, and they escort those funeral processions. So it started with that, and then came the hearse, and everyone here. There's a group of several dozen people here were saluting and were just watching. Some of them had flags. They were waving their flags, just quietly watching, very respectfully watching this procession go by here in Canton. You know, many of them were veterans themselves who wanted to, you know, pay their respects. Some of them were just community members or people that maybe had family members in the service, so they felt it was important to them to pay their respects in that regard. But I spoke with some of those folks, and let's take a listen to what they had to say. Why did you decide to come out here today?
In honor and respect to our veterans.
Yeah, and what's it like when you see that procession go by?
It's emotional, very emotional, to realize, you know, we're losing another veteran.
What's your thought as you saw that procession go by there today?
He was well loved by family and community.
This gives us some feeling of being able to at least give a tribute.
And why was it important for you to come out here today?
Well, just to honor this guy. You know, he's a veteran. He kind of gave it all. He's over there serving our country, and I'm glad they're over there. And he took the chance, and unfortunately, he was killed. But we need to honor him for that purpose. Yeah.
What do you think when you see a procession like this?
Well, it's good because other people feel the same way, you know, and they're out here and they just want to sort of salute him as he goes by, you know, and thank him and his family for what they've done.
Yeah, you know, some of these veterans, you know, served in Vietnam, and they saw some of their comrades pass away. So, you know, it really was important to them to pay their respects here. A lot of these folks gathered outside here at Williamson Brothers Barbecue. They had the flags here at half staff, big supporters of veterans here as well. But no doubt, just a very, very touching scene here as these people stood out here, watched, many of them standing even outside their cars, their parked cars, while they waited for the procession to go by. It was a very, very touching scene here.
Chris, I was able to see some of that video you mentioned of that woman standing outside of her car. Always heartwarming to see a community come together, and especially in the days and months ahead. I know this family will be relying heavily on that community. So thank you for showing us the processional route, showing us a little bit of the community who came out to support and band together. We'll continue to keep you updated as things progress. Chris Rosenthal reporting live for us. Thank you. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, I do want to let you know that today also marks a somber anniversary. It has been 1 year since DeKalb Police Officer David Rose was killed in the shooting outside the CDC. And ultimately, 1 year later, we are honoring his life and legacy. Family members, fellow officers, and the community came together to honor him on the 1 year anniversary of that deadly shooting. Rose was 33 years old, and he was shot and killed August 8th, 2025, while responding to an active shooter outside the CDC campus near Emory University. A memorial has remained outside of the CDC since the shooting, and now the road to that entrance of the campus has been renamed in Rose's honor. Keep in mind, Emory University community is planning several vigils to mark 1 year since the shooting. David Rose has been remembered as a great man, father to their daughter, Rose's family has said, and saying that they have mourned his loss every day since. Ultimately, we'll keep you updated as things progress forward, but the campus, that road in, has been renamed in his honor, and we have seen a vigil for remembrance for him today outside of Emory University. So we'll continue to keep you updated as any new vigils pop up, but in the meantime, I wanted to let you know that we are 1 year past this somber remembrance. Now let's talk about something unfolding in Newton. Police are investigating, and they've been able to make 9 arrests in a string of vehicle thefts and break-ins. I'm going to take this lower third here down so you can see all of the people here on your screen. 9 in total have been arrested, 6 teens and 3 minors, in connection to a string of vehicle thefts and car break-in incidents in Newton County. And the Newton County Sheriff's Office says that the vehicle-related crimes happened between July 8th and July 21st throughout the Arbor Lake apartments and surrounding areas. Now, according to those authorities, they say that at least 10 vehicles were damaged, 5 vehicles were stolen, and investigators added that an item was also stolen from one of the vehicles during the series of incidents. The Sheriff's Office has said that Jimmy Upton, a 17-year-old, Jamarvius Upton, a 19-year-old, Dontarius Smith, 17, Ryan Roseberry, 19, Skylar Morris Love, 18, and Jaden Morris Love, 17, have all been arrested. 3 minors also arrested in that investigation, which is why you only see 6 people here on your screen. Some of them are family members and related to each other. So we're going to keep you updated as this investigation moves forward. It's unclear how these individuals were able to gain access to some of these stolen vehicles or what the exact items taken from the break-in were. But as police investigate, we will keep you updated. Let's talk about a mother who says her child was almost hit while getting off of the school bus this week. Keep in mind, school just started in Henry County on Monday, and this mother lives in Henry County and is really frustrated. Our Tara Jabor has been speaking with her and joins us live now. Tara, what's she sharing with you?
Ariel, that's right. This just happened on Tuesday right outside of this family's home. And really the video in this story tells the whole story. So if you take a look at the video, you can see the school bus, and then you eventually see a minivan that looks like it's driving pretty fast. It comes up on the bus, and then you can hear the bus driver lay on the horn, and finally that minivan slows down, comes to a brake, and then you see the little boy cross the road. So this happened on South Ula Road in Henry County, and we spoke to the boy's mother. Her name is Alicia Strickland, and she said that she really wants to find out who that driver is. She's of course upset because her child could have gotten hit by that car, but luckily her child is okay. She says that the camera on the school bus wasn't able to capture the license plate of that driver, so there's really no way for her to find out who did this, but she wants people to remember to slow down, especially when you see a stop sign with a school bus. You have to come to a complete stop. It's, of course, the law here in Georgia to stop when a school bus has red flashing lights and a stop sign out. Let's take a listen on exactly what that mother had to say.
Look out for these kids. I mean, if you're driving in this day and age, you've known for years, you don't pass a school bus. You can't trust that the child's getting off on the right side of the bus. You have to be aware. These are our children, our babies, our future. Just be mindful of that all the time, because at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is take an innocent child's life.
And, you know, if you do pass a school bus that has the flashing red lights and a stop sign, you could be fined up to $1,000, and you do have to make a court appearance. So, Ariel, coming up later tonight on Fox 5 News, we'll have much more from this mother. We'll also hear from the Henry County Police Department about school bus safety.
Good to know, Tara. Thanks so much for letting us see that video. I have to say, what's remarkable to me is that the minivan, you watched it stop and slow down for the child to cross the street, but then it kept going. It didn't even wait for that stop sign arm of the bus to retract in. It at least waited for the child to cross, but definitely illegal and not to mention dangerous. And if a police officer had been around, that minivan would have been cited.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, because of course it is the law also that you have to wait until that arm comes up and then that they take in the stop sign before you can pass. But as you mentioned, they just blew right by once the kid crossed the street.
Thankfully, they were paying enough attention to see the kid cross, but yeah, the stop sign on the side of a school bus, not a suggestion. It is a law. So Tara Jabor, thanks for the reminder. Appreciate your reporting, and we'll see you again later this evening. As we continue, speaking of roads and driving, I do want to let you know that we're in for another headache with I-285 again this weekend. So let's talk about it, because this is going to be another weekend of shutdowns on Interstate 285. All lanes will be closed from South Atlanta Road to Paces Ferry. The closure starts at 7 tonight and will be in place until 5 Monday morning. Roadside and overhead signs will direct traffic to the detour route, and this is all part of a rehabilitation project. GDOT says the lane closures are going to provide enough space for crews to work safely and protect motorists while large equipment is in operation. Again, that is South Atlanta Road to Paces Ferry Road, so just plan accordingly. I also want to, speaking of transportation, I want to talk about the latest regarding inspections for some Boeing airplanes. The Federal Aviation Administration is ordering a new round of inspections for some Boeing-made passenger jets. The FAA sent directives to air operators of Boeing jets for inspections of potential cracks in the aircraft's body. The order applies to about 470 planes of certain Boeing 737 MAX 8, MAX 8-200, and MAX 9 series of these planes. According to the directive, there were reports of cracks in the bear strap at the forward upper corner of the forward galley door cutout. The FAA has ordered air carriers to inspect and make necessary repairs in order to ensure structural elements can sustain limit loads with no adverse effects. Boeing says the issue is first identified on certain 737 next generation aircraft and has not been seen on the 737 MAX fleet, but they've been working with air carriers on the issue over the last 6 years. This new directive takes effect for air carriers on September 10th. So wanted to give you that update. As we continue here, you guys, as promised, when we started 2 o'clock, I told you there were new rules that ICE has said they are going to be mandating for body camera footage from officers. Basically, what they're saying, rules they're going to take into account when they release body camera footage. It may surprise you. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the latest regarding a new report from the Government Accountability Office on DOGE and whether or not it actually saved the federal government any money. But first, a check of your weather forecast straight ahead. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here live with us at 2 o'clock. We've got meteorologist Greg Majeski. Greg, what are we looking at weather-wise?
I was tracking a storm that was getting closer to town, and as soon as it moved in, it just fell apart. But what stinks about those things, and when that happens, it just causes the humidity just to go up a little bit more.
Yeah.
When you start getting showers early in the day, it's not going to last, and then you break out kind of sunshine, it's like, ugh,
so steamy.
Sultry and steamy out there. Anyway, this is our current radar out there right now, and we got some storms over in Alabama. We got some storms in around here. We had one coming into Atlanta. It was just very interesting to kind of watch that start to come on in here. And I'll zoom on in. You'll see the storm. Watch it. Watch it as it loops here. You'll see it looping, coming right in over the perimeter, and it just died.
Oh man,
it's like psych.
Not happening.
They even put a little special weather statement out for that little thing, and then it just fell apart. So go figure. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff we're gonna get today. Getting some pretty good heavy rains over there towards Cedartown. Get pretty good there in Buchanan County, looking a little wet over there, and looking up here toward Feehan, and get a little wet up here. But that's a little cell blowing up right near Blue Ridge. That could be right with the lake. Don't want to be over the lake with that thing on top of you. That's for sure there. And coming down here to the south, got some stuff out here coming up toward Griffin and Hampton. So again, we're just going to continue with the hodgepodge of scattered showers and thunderstorms, your typical summertime weather. Which I'll be honest with you, we haven't really seen a whole lot of that this summer. We've had frontal boundaries, we've had unusual cold fronts come in, we've had other stuff, and this is really kind of the first time in a while we've actually fell into this kind of pattern. But we were looking at rains on this camera earlier, not seeing much out there now at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Currently at 81 degrees. Again, that rain nearby does help to cool things down, but it does keep it awfully humid out there. So definitely a steam afternoon, to say the least. So don't know if we're going to get to that 89. It sits that rain cooled the air mass down there, but if we break any kind of sunshine at all, it'll spike real quick. So again, the storms will be on the evening hours, and we'll see things begin to wind down here for tonight. I wanted to point out some fall air. I saw this morning. I went, oh, that looks so nice. Check out Rapid City at 76 degrees. Had a nice little Canadian cold front kind of dropped down. It's very refreshing air up that way. Not quite in our backyards just yet, folks. Hold on, give it a little more time. Say it about a month. I think we'll be kind of sort of track this kind of stuff to come down at us. That would be nice. But in the meantime, we got to deal with the sweltering hot heat and these scattered daily showers and thunderstorms. So you guys got anything planned for the weekend? I always get the question, okay, what's the best day to do anything? It doesn't matter whether it's Saturday, Sunday. You're just going to have to deal with the scattered shower and thunderstorm. One may find your county, one may not. It just depends on how it bubbles up for the day. It's always so frustrating for us weather guys when you'll put like maybe a high chance of rain. Somebody, you're a liar. I didn't get a drop in my backyard. No, that's called summertime storms, my friend. That's how it works in the summertime. It's a little bit different than when you're in the spring or going in the wintertime when you get a more widespread rain. So not that type of thing. So anyway, forecast today going up around again the 80s, 90s, mid 80s up in the mountains, and overnight lows tonight down to low 70s. Nothing changes here, and you can take this pretty much this forecast here and just stamp and repeat it all the way through the next 7 days, because that's what it's going to be looking like. It's going to be just repeat. Yeah, not really changing much there. So looks like Sunday's maybe the drier of the 2 days. We'll see. But again, looking at scattered storms, 30 to 40% just about daily all through next week. So, yep. Nothing changes right now.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know. And we're going to be inside with the air conditioning.
Oh,
Sounds
yeah.
about right.
Best place to be right now.
Greg, thanks so much. Guys, okay, let's switch gears here. I want to talk about some national headlines we're following here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. So let's talk about the latest regarding an appeals court that has just ruled President Donald Trump must seek approval from Congress to build his proposed White House ballroom. They say that construction on the ballroom must stop. The U.S. Court of Appeals sided with historic preservationists who sued to stop construction. The court says it would stay its own ruling for 2 weeks to allow the administration to appeal to the United States Supreme Court. Basically, if the Supreme Court does not decide to take up that case, then the ruling of this appeals court would stand. Whether or not a massive ballroom should be constructed is for Congress to decide and is not a matter for executive self-help, the court wrote. This holding has nothing to do at all with whether the proposed ballroom is desirable or not as a matter of policy. This ruling does not even necessarily mean that the defendants may may not ultimately construct the ballroom. What it does mean, the court wrote, is that defendants may not do so during the district court's expeditious litigation without suing Congress's authorization, as the Constitution and laws require. So the ballroom construction at this point needs to be put on hold, according to that court. Let's also speak about some recent executive orders that President Trump has just signed, two, in fact, to limit birthright citizenship. This comes despite his first attempt being rejected by the United States Supreme Court. Thursday, the president signed two executive orders that limit the number of people born in the U.S. who can become American citizens. The first executive order limits the number of people eligible for U.S. citizenship after being born in the United States, while the second is focused on what President Trump calls birth tourism, or stopping people from coming to the United States to give birth. It also aims to restrict birthright citizenship to anyone whose parents engaged in fraudulent activity to obtain citizenship. The first order restricts automatic citizenship to specific categories of people, like children born to adults with connections to foreign embassies or organizations, along with anyone considered an alien enemy in the United States. The second order adds more restrictions on visitors to the U.S. who want to obtain visas to give birth while in the country. It is not clear whether the president's latest attempts will hold up in court. One thing to keep in mind, of the roughly 3.5 million births in the U.S. each year, the Migration Policy Institute estimates that some 26,000 may be considered birth tourism. The Senate is facing a massive to-do list, racing to leave town, senators are, for the summer recess, but they've got stuff to do beforehand, like a vote on the Russia sanctions bill, finalizing a plan to avoid a government shutdown, and a confirmation vote for Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche. Blanche's confirmation, though, is in serious jeopardy of failing, with a number of Republican senators saying they are a no vote. Friday was supposed to be the first day of a 5-week recess for the Senate, but instead they've got work to do, a stack of votes to get through before they can leave town. Todd Blanche's confirmation as Attorney General is at the top of that list, and his nomination had been in doubt, but Republican holdout Senator Bill Cassidy announced Friday morning that he would vote yes. But then that came just a few hours after Alaska Republican Lisa Murkowski announced that she's a no vote on Blanche because she says the country needs an Attorney General who will check the worst impulses of this administration, end quote. Now, dozens of lower-level nominations are also up Friday and expected to pass without support from Democrats. Another priority vote is the Clarity Act, and that would regulate cryptocurrency here in America. Both houses have to vote on a temporary funding bill as well, because without it, our federal government is going to run out of money on October 1st. So we will keep you updated as that moves forward. But now let's talk about this new report from the Government Accountability Office on Doge. A new report from the Trump administration is showing the now defunct Doge wasn't telling the truth about how much money it was actually saving taxpayers. The Department of Government Efficiency is officially shut down, or Doge as we know it. But late Thursday, the Government Accountability Office issued a new report showing billions of dollars of savings claimed by Doge simply don't exist. The GAO says Doge's, quote, wall of receipts was full of inaccuracies, including estimates that were off by billions with a B, or lacked supporting evidence. Now, despite the new controversy, some Republicans say they want to implement similar programs on a state level, like Senator Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, who's running for governor. Democrats are pushing back, pointing to the report's claim that Doge wasn't transparent, didn't follow basic methodology in calculating savings, and possibly cut from the wrong programs. Still, the administration says that Doge was a success because it put a spotlight on wasteful government spending. The GAO report found about $10 billion in cuts that Doge claimed, but could not be verified. All right, now, as I mentioned, ICE has put some new rules in place regarding how it releases body camera footage. And that rule is ICE will release body camera footage when it deems it's in the agency's best interest. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents are going to start wearing body camera footage or body cams across their uniforms, but they will have broad control over what video is released to the public. This policy requires officers to activate cameras cameras during routine enforcement activities after shootings or other serious confrontations. A committee or top ICE officials and lawyers will review the footage and recommend whether to release it promptly. And if they recommend release, it will be done within 72 hours. But if they don't, if this committee or top ICE officials do not recommend release of body camera footage in the event of an incident, the ICE director can withhold the video or block its release indefinitely. ICE says their field officers will have body cameras on their persons by the end of next month. So we will keep you updated as that policy moves forward. Coming up, you guys, we have more news to get to. Want to talk about the latest regarding a animal cruelty case, and we're going to talk about what charges a woman is facing coming up. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being live with us here on your Friday afternoon. If this is your weekend, we've made it. How lucky are we to finally be ready for another weekend? And if this is not your weekend, it'll be coming soon enough. So as we continue here at 2 o'clock, you have questions on any of the stories I'm covering, feel free to drop it on TikTok, YouTube. Let us know if there's a story you want to see covered that we haven't talked about yet. But in the meantime, let's talk about this. A dog rescue founder was arrested in Nashville after her brother-in-law was charged with animal cruelty in Georgia. Kevin Stewart joins us live to break down the details of this case. Kevin, it's not every day that you see someone who purports to help animals be charged in something like this.
Yeah, that's what's so troubling about this. You did note the two suspects here. Their names, Joshua Canup and Jennifer Canup. Jennifer Canup, she founded the nonprofit rescue in the Metro Nashville area. It's called Canup Canine Rescue and Sanctuary. She's going to be extradited down here back to the Douglas County Jail. Joshua, her brother-in-law, is already in the Douglas County Jail. Officers found him in the home in Winston, a modest home, spacious land, multiple acres, but they said the conditions inside that home for the animals was horrendous. 18 dogs we're talking about, some as young as approximately 5 months old, others 4 years old. According to the warrants, the dogs range from bully mixes to shepherds, and they were left in the home with urine and feces with poor ventilation in a sunroom. There are 2 aggravated cruelty to animal charges because deputies found a 5-month-old dog starved inside that home. That dog died, and another dog, a 2-year-old French bulldog, lost his eye due to alleged lack of care. The house where this all allegedly took place is a rental home. The owners told me off camera they didn't know anything about Joshua because they rented the house to Jennifer and had no idea what was going inside that home. In fact, we're told the lease only allowed for 2 pets. The vice president of the Georgia Animal Rights and Protections Organization says this is not just sad, it's horrible.
Really troubling, and I'm sure well-meaning people gave her donations. I looked at her website, and it, a lot of times the appearances of a website mean nothing. You really have to scrutinize nonprofits.
All right, now, typically when you have an animal cruelty case and the animals are taken by law enforcement, typically they are taken to animal control. In this case here, the Douglas County Animal Services Building, we're waiting for official word to confirm what is likely the case, that these dogs are being treated here. We want to know how these dogs are doing. It's worth noting, if you don't know, that when these, because the case has not been adjudicated, the animals, if they are here, as we believe they are, they wouldn't be up for adoption because this case has to be adjudicated first. Ariel?
Good to know, Kevin. Yeah, because in stories like these, people always want to rally around and come together and say, when can I adopt the animal? How can I help? Which is incredible that our community does that for these pets. But absolutely incredible to think how many dogs were in that home and just the conditions they experienced. One question I have, based on everything you were sharing, what's her connection to her brother-in-law? Was he working with her on this nonprofit she founded where those animals supposed rescues? What's that connection?
Yes, it's a great question. It's one of these things we have to connect the dots, because we were hoping to talk to the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, but they said they weren't able to talk to us today, and they probably could help shed some light. We were able to get the mugshot of Jennifer Canup through the Metro Nashville jail, and obviously try to connect the dots here, how this all works. But as I indicated, the owners of the house that rented to Jennifer Canup thought they were just renting to her, not her brother-in-law, who was in the house at the time when animal control and deputies went inside that house. So we really don't know what his relation is to the organization. She is listed in that organization, and a quick search online shows that there was a story published in Nashville earlier this week that named her as the owner of the nonprofit and had been around since 2025.
Wow, important clarification, Kevin. I appreciate that. As you work to get more details from authorities there, hopefully we'll be able to piece together some of these dots, connect them, if you will. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us live. I know we'll see you again later this evening, and hopefully we're able to get police are able to get justice for some of these pets. So, Kevin, thank you. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, some of you are commenting on that story with Kevin. It is absolutely awful, and I have to tell you, I have another animal cruelty story. Sorry, but it has a happy ending, okay? So we understand that a woman was arrested after a witness saw her throwing kittens from her car. A 25-year-old woman, Valentina Toban-Hanau, 25 years old, faces animal cruelty charges in Brookhaven after witnesses reported seeing her throw 3 kittens out of a moving car Wednesday afternoon. Brookhaven police officers responded to that report of animal cruelty around 2:30 Wednesday in the area of Peachtree Road and Osborne Road. A witness told officers a person inside a silver Toyota Sienna discarded multiple kittens from the vehicle. The witness provided officers with a description of the driver and the vehicle's license plate information. Officers searched the area and found a dead kitten in the roadway, and investigators identified the vehicle and figured out that Toban-Hanau was behind the wheel. She was found later at a nearby business and placed into custody, but Maria Stewart is that witness, and she said she's the one who alerted law enforcement. An 8-week-old kitten is recovering after being thrown out of that car. You remember 3 were thrown out. 1 was immediately rescued, and then another they could not find. But I have to tell you some good news. We just got an update from our Rob DeRienzo, who was the initial reporter covering this story, that 3rd kitten has been found safe. So good news that 3rd kitten that was missing, that was thrown from this vehicle, has now been located. Authorities say that they're continuing to investigate. They have not released any motive behind this incident, but we'll continue to let you know as we get new information. I do want to let you listen to really quickly that witness, Maria Stewart, who called police because she's really the one who made sure that these kittens survived.
One flying out of her window. Then I see another kitten flying out of her window. I decided to follow her, caught her at the next light, took pictures of her license plate. I just think this person's a monster to have done that. They were tiny little kittens being thrown out of a car.
So Maria decided to take matters into her own hands, and police say that if you have any more information, you can give their office a call in Brookhaven as they continue this active investigation. Let's switch gears here. I want to talk about a story we have been following here closely with Johnny Edwards, investigative reporter at the Center Square. And we have an update. You, Johnny, thanks for joining us live. You've been covering this case of a disputed will, and now a Georgia notary who has been involved is being stripped of their commission. Give us the backstory and why this is happening.
Well, right. Well, this is a dispute over a family estate, and at the center of this dispute is a DeKalb County judge. That's DeKalb County Magistrate Court Judge Rothelia Stroud, who's also the chief judge over the city of Decatur's municipal court. This will that she personally filed is alleged to have been forged. The man's two children say that that's not his signature. They even hired a signature expert or handwriting expert to take a look at it and said it's not his signature, and they believe there's something going on here. But one thing that backed up the credibility of that will was the fact that it was notarized by a notary public. Well, now that notary has been stripped of her notary commission, and this raises major credibility problems with not only her, but also the credibility of the will. It's not that she's been disciplined over something she did with this will that's at dispute. It's another document that she notarized for the same family 2 years prior.
As we're looking at this, Johnny, it's interesting because we talked a little bit about why this case was in dispute, and now the notary involved being stripped of their commission. You know, I'm curious, is this something that's happened before? Is it common for notaries to be stripped of their commission? It kind of gives the idea that something serious had to happen here.
Well, Shay Alexander, who is the clerk of Superior Court for Fulton County, said that in the 3 years she's been in office, she's only done this 10 times, decommissioned a notary, and she's only actually held a hearing for a notary who appealed one time. Now, it remains to be seen if this notary, Jacqueline Walker, will actually appeal the decommissioning. It just happened on Tuesday.
Johnny, what are the next steps for you? Because there's been back and forth with this family over the judge's disputed will and whether or not things are supposed to go where some family members say they are, right? And you're trying to piece together some of these clues and figure out whether or not this is legitimate. What are the next questions you're asking yourself?
Well, a lot of it's actually in the hands of a lot of different authorities right now. For one thing, there's a hearing finally scheduled in this case on August 27th. We'll be covering that. This case sat in limbo for quite a while because every judge in DeKalb County had to recuse themselves because Judge Stroud is a DeKalb County judge. Also, as I mentioned, the notary public, Jacqueline Walker, will have a chance to appeal. We'll see if she does that. If she does, there will be a public hearing held. So we'll be watching both of those things. Now, also, interestingly, another thing that's happening is in order to get the Superior Court clerk to investigate, the niece who is challenging this will, Jamina Stroud, had to file a police report with Atlanta PD. She did that earlier late last month. So now it's also in the hands of the Atlanta Police Department. We're watching to see whether they're going to actually investigate this, because to falsely notarize a document is not only cause for discipline for your notary license, it's also a crime. It's a misdemeanor under Georgia law. What happened here is arguably pretty egregious. Now, this notarization done in 2023 on a property deed, one of the two people who signed had been dead for 3 weeks. This notary actually notarized the signature of a woman who had died of cancer 3 weeks earlier. And this was done apparently for Johnny Stroud, the same man who is at the center of this will, who died in September, actually died in hospice care in Judge Stroud's home. So what Jamina Stroud is asking now is, you know, if this notary would at one time notarize a signature for my family of a dead person, would this not happen again? Because her allegation is that her father did not sign this will. He was either incapacitated or maybe already dead or maybe just not aware of what was happening. So this raises what they call sometimes a similar transaction question.
Yeah, Johnny, you know, I think for people who might be watching kind of like, okay, so this is a really crazy story, but how does it affect me? I think about, okay, well, how often have you heard of or been in a situation where maybe a will or a legal document you feel does not have the legitimacy that it should? And then what legal protections or recourses do you have to move forward? In this case, it's infinitely more complex because the deceased is a judge. And like you mentioned, a lot of other judges had to recuse themselves because of that personal relationship. Not everyone may find themselves there, but it raises a lot of questions about how to move forward in cases like this.
Right, you raise a very good question, or a very good point here. It's actually the brother of the judge who is deceased, but this does bring up something that every family often faces. Now, I don't know exactly what happened here. I don't know if Johnny Stroud actually signed that will or not, but it is frustrating for family members that you can have a loved one, a parent, a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, you know, be dying or close to death and think that everything's in order with their estate, and anyone can come along and perhaps put papers in front of them or get a signature from them or get them, or they might change their minds. Now, I spoke to a law professor who said very often people do change their mind at the very last minute. You know, they get angry with certain family members and want to change their will and leave people out or put people in. But in this case, you know, like I mentioned, a handwriting expert says that's not Johnny Stroud's signature on that will. If you look at them, you know, we have them on our website, thecentersquare.com. You can see how this handwriting expert reached that conclusion. They're very different. Now, was he sick and ailing and that made the signature different? You know, that remains to be seen.
Great questions, Johnny. As always, appreciate the conversation and the clarifications on this, because I have a feeling this won't be the last time we speak about this case, especially now that Atlanta police and other entities are getting involved. So, Johnny, I thank you for your time, for joining us live and letting us know what the latest is, and look forward to our next conversation. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you.
As we continue here at 2 o'clock, you guys, we are going to check in with our Maria Guzman on how to keep your kids safe in a way that you might not expect. Straight ahead. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being live here with us. Let's talk about a really important way that you can help protect your children, and that is getting the right car seat. There's a lot of rules that you may not be aware of, and our Maria Guzman went to speak to police about how we can keep our kids safe. So, Maria, thanks so much for joining us live. What are officers sharing with you?
Hey, Ariel, yes, today the Gwinnett County Police Department partnered up with the Public Health Department to do a free car seat check. So a lot of parents have questions on how to set up their car seat, and so officers were able to help them. And it was also super special because we had some firefighters and police officers with the county getting certified on how to properly set up a car seat. And a lot of the questions they've been receiving is, if I get a car seat that's been donated, can I use it? We know the car seats can be very expensive, around $100 or so, depending on the kind and the brand. And so they do have some tips if you have a car seat that's been donated, or also if you're a new parent and have some questions on how to set it up. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
One of the biggest concerns and questions we get is, am I able to use a car seat that maybe was donated to me by a family member, or maybe one that I bought? Let's say they aren't able to buy a car seat because they might be a little pricey at the moment and they might not have the funds. And what we tell people is, yes, you can use car seats that have been donated, but the biggest thing is you need to know the history of the car seat. If a car seat's been involved in an accident, it should not be used any further, because at that point the security and the structure of the car seat won't be as safe as it was when it was brand new. Also, one thing you want to keep in mind is car seats do have an expiration date. So as long as it's within that expiration period and the car seat has no accidents, then yeah, you can use it at that point. So this right here is a rear facing only car seat, right? So this car seat is a two-piece car seat where the top piece you can basically take it with you. The child can be there. This is what you more commonly see when kids are brand new or newborns, right? And then the base, right? The base is going to be facing towards the back of the seat. And this configuration here is being installed by lower anchors, which are these little tabs here that go to the lower anchor on your car seat. Now, when you install these, you want to not only look at the manual on the car seat, but as well as the manual on your car, because the car is going to tell you where those anchor points are and where you should and shouldn't install this car seat, right? So you install this facing rear, then you grab your car seat. Now, when you look at your car seat, like I said, this right here is an older car seat that we use for the class. That way the students can go and get their hands on. But one of the things you want to look at is right here, right? So this car seat should only be used for children weighing 4 to 35 pounds and 17 to 30 inches. So if your kid doesn't meet that requirement or goes out of that requirement, let's say they start weighing a little more but they're still within the height, whichever one you hit first, you should move up to the next car seat, right? And the best practice is you want to keep them facing rear the longer, right? The longer the better. So once the child is installed, it basically snaps in place, and then that car seat is secured once the base is secured to the car. So one of the things that we teach with these, over here you see this helps the recline angle on the car seat. You want to be mindful of that, because the incorrect recline on the car seat can put it where now your child, especially at this early age, they don't have a lot of muscles developed in their neck, around their necks, so their head tends to tilt, and you don't want that. You want to give them that proper recline that the car seat recommends at the time, and depending on their age as well. So you want to have it there where the baby is able to breathe.
Yeah, and if you have any questions on your car seat, you're actually able to reach out to the Georgia Department of Public Health and ask for the Child Occupant Safety Project, and they can help you out there, Ariel.
Maria, such good, important information. I know so often I've gotten a car seat, tried to put it in the back of the car, tried to hook the straps up, not really sure where different things go. And I think it can be easy to be like, oh, that doesn't do anything, you know, brush it off. But it really is there, all of the hooks, all of the straps, for a reason. And making sure everything is properly secured could be the difference in saving your child's life.
Yeah, it truly is. I feel like a lot of at times we take it for granted, but even the officer said when he was learning, he actually had his car seat placed incorrectly, and so after going to the class and getting certified, he was able to make those adjustments and changes at home and be able to just make sure his kids are safe.
Maria, thanks for bringing this information to our attention. I appreciate you. We will see you again here upcoming at 3 o'clock. You guys, thanks so much for being live with us here at 2. I am Ariel Onstadt. Eric Perry is getting ready to join you for 3 o'clock.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Eric Perry. On this Friday, we finally made it through a week, and what a week it has been. And I've only worked 3 days, and I'm already stressed out. So it's good to have you with us here as we recap some of the big stories of the day. We'll have some interviews throughout this. We'll talk to someone in the Dunk League hosted or created by Shaquille O'Neal. I went earlier this week, and I said I have to explain and tell everybody about what I saw. Some talented individuals there. And, of course, we will walk you through some of the big topics of the day. One of the big topics that just came in this afternoon, Colin Gray, he is the father of now charged in pled guilty Colt Gray there. Lawyers say that they are filing for a new trial there. A jury found Colin Gray guilty of 27 charges, including murder and involuntary manslaughter, for giving his son Colt the gun that he used to kill 2 students and 2 teachers. That's who you're looking at there on screen. Well, a judge sentenced Colin Gray to 15 years in prison. The motion for a new trial claims that there was not evidence to support the guilty verdict and that it was contrary to the law and to justice. Now, this is the first time in Georgia that we have seen a parent charged and responsible for the actions of their kids when it comes to an active shooter or a mass shooting incident. This is the second in the country after Oxford as well. So, of course, we'll continue to follow that story. Another big story that we have been following throughout the day comes as we mark a somber anniversary. This Derek Rose, the officer DeKalb County killed last year outside the CDC. Today we know RFK Jr., the Secretary of Health there, was at the CDC. Different vigils taking place. Angelique Proctor is outside there now. Angelique, I remember that day. We spent so much time on the air walking through this. Really a tough day for the DeKalb County community and the CDC family.
Absolutely. Good afternoon to you, Eric. I remember the shooting as well. Certainly very shocking to this community and the Metro Atlanta community, really the nation, that this happened. Today marked of the 1-year anniversary, the CDC doing what was a private service and ceremony this afternoon. It was a very emotional time. We saw lots of tears, and I want to show you something that's brand new out here today. This is a marker here that was erected just this morning, and I watched Officer David Rose's 7-year-old daughter take a picture and sort of playing right in front of that marker, which commemorates her father's service and his sacrifice. It was quite a poignant moment. Now, as you said, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy was here for this private service, although we did not actually see him, but we did again see the Rose family. David Rose's parents were here as well. This service was really open to CDC employees and started at 10:30 this morning. There was a huge memorial with lots of flowers in memory of Officer Rose. It's here in front of the entrance. The roadway leading up to the CDC has been renamed Officer David Rose Parkway. Now, on August 8th, a gunman fired hundreds of rounds at several CDC buildings, shot Rose, and later turned the gun on himself. DeKalb's police chief was here today, as was Atlanta's chief, but DeKalb's chief says that Officer Rose will forever be remembered in this community.
Serving and protecting this community and the sacrifice that he made for this community, and being able to honor him and stand with his family is an experience like no other. I don't want any other chief of police to ever have to experience this, but there's no doubt in my mind that his legacy, Officer Rose's legacy, will forever be remembered in our community.
It's been a year, and I wasn't here on that day, but I was here the next day, and I looked across the street and I saw a window in an office that I used to occupy had a bullet hole in it, and so I could have been here and had a bullet come through the window, and I just can't imagine what kind of trauma that was for the people who were, again, just trying to do the important work of public health.
And that was Steve Monroe, a former CDC employee who came out today along with other people and held signs. It was really a rally of support for CDC workers. And of course, tomorrow is the actual anniversary day. The Emory community will hold a memorial tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Glen Memorial United Methodist Church, and participants are asked to register if they want to attend, but clearly lots of people are remembering the officer and his great sacrifice. You can see there that growing memorial with all of those live flowers right there. We are on Clifton Road right in front of the CDC. Lots of people remembering that officer today. Eric?
Yeah, Angelique, it's so interesting because that police chief was just the interim chief during all of that time there. That was really his big incident, just being right there on the job there. Such a day that none of us will ever forget. Angelique Proctor, thanks so much. Another day that many people will not forget as we come together to remember a hero there this morning. Services took place for hundreds remembering First Lieutenant Officer Tyler Feehan. Let's take you to some of the images there. This is as people coming in there as they remember the 25-year-old who died in Jordan last month. Here's what we know about the incidents that took place a little earlier this morning and all throughout the day. We brought it to you. You can see the hearse and limousines heading to the church services. This was the processional that took place in front of the Woodstock Funeral Home to Feehan's final resting place. People coming together along the route as well, paying their honors, paying their respects. He'll be buried there at the Georgia National Cemetery in Canton. Officials have not detailed the circumstances just yet surrounding the incident that led to his death. It has been reported that he died during what's called Operation Epic Fury, but the Department of War is simply saying that he died during overseas operations. Now, Ray Urena was there earlier today. He was not allowed inside that church. Of course, there are privately mourning that individual, Lieutenant Tyler Feehan in Canton. However, many people were encouraged to line the streets early, and that's where Christopher Rosenthal has been throughout most of the day, just talking with people as they come together to honor an American hero.
You know, a lot of the people that came out here to pay their respects to the First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan didn't know him at all, but yet they felt it was important to come out here and give him an honor as his procession came through here on Friday morning. That procession came down the road and came down Marietta Highway before going another 8 miles to the Georgia National Cemetery, where his funeral is held on Friday afternoon. That procession was escorted by the Patriot Guard riders. They are a group of riders, motorcycle riders, that often escort these processions for fallen soldiers. And it was a very touching tribute to Tyler Feehan. Many of the people here were veterans. Some people may have had family members in the service. Some of them were very emotional watching the procession go by. And I spoke with some of these people, some of these onlookers, several dozen that came here, just about their thoughts and their feelings as they watched this procession go by. Why did you decide to come out here today?
In honor and respect to our veterans.
Yeah, and what's it like when you see that procession go by?
It's emotional, very emotional, to realize, we're losing another veteran.
What's your thought as you saw that procession go by there today?
He was well loved by family and community.
This gives us some feeling of being able to at least give a tribute.
Gotcha. Did you know him at all?
No, I didn't.
Didn't know. Yeah. Gotcha. Well, what will you be thinking when you? What will you be thinking on your mind when you see a procession like this?
Well, I saw a lot of it in Vietnam, where people gave the ultimate sacrifice and didn't get to come home. It was an amazing experience to be able to be a part of, supporting the country. But at the same time, I was fortunate enough to be able to come home, as this guy wasn't able to.
And why was it important for you to come out here today?
Well, just to honor this guy. He's a veteran. He kind of gave it all. He's over there serving our country, and I'm glad they're over there. And he took the chance, and unfortunately, he was killed. But we need to honor him for that purpose. Yeah.
What do you think when you see a procession like this?
Well, it's good because other people feel the same way, and they're out here and they just want to sort of salute him as he goes by, and thank him and his family for what they've done.
And the flag here at Williamson's Brothers in Canton is at half-staff in honor of Tyler Feehan. Tyler Feehan, again, he was from Savannah, but he was a big Braves fan, a big Falcons fan, and leaves behind a fiancée, Claire. That attack in Jordan that killed him, there were also 2 others that were killed in that attack. Back to you.
All right, Chris Rosenthal, thanks so much. And we do want to stay on those flags as well, as the Governor Brian Kemp has ordered them to remain at half-staff throughout the day. This is outside the Williamson Brothers barbecue, lowering their flag this morning, all in honor of that fallen hero there. He made this order, the governor did, last month after learning of his death there. We'll continue to follow this story there. We have a team of reporters spread out throughout Canton and the area as we continue to honor this American hero. Let's get into some other news here. This one is going to be disturbing for some of cat owners here. You're taking a look at Valentina Tobin Heino. She faces several charges here. Felony animal cruelty, as many people say. She was threw kittens out of a moving car there, 3 of them at that. You heard that correct. 3 kittens as she was moved out. This is Brookhaven here. They responded to a report of animal cruelty. It was around 2:30 Wednesday in the area of Peachtree Road and Osborne Road. A witness told officers that a person inside a silver Toyota Sienna threw those kittens from the car there, and witnesses say they gave that license plate, so that helped to track her down there. So officers searching the area, they found one, unfortunately, did not survive. Maria Stewart says she was traveling behind another car at the time when all of this happened. Take a listen.
One flying out of her window. Then I see another kitten flying out of her window. I decided to follow her, caught her at the next light, took pictures of her license plate. I just think this person's a monster to have done that. They were tiny little kittens being thrown out of a car.
Yeah, so many people here reacting to this story on social media. Unfortunately, one of those kittens were found deceased. A second one was found alive. They had a dislocated tail. And a third one was able to be found, we believe, to be in okay condition there. So we'll continue to follow that. That is Valentina, who is charged in this particular case. In Hampton, controversy still coming surrounding a data center, this in its proximity to a cemetery. We brought you this story as well here. Here's what we know. So this is in Hampton. Residents are concerned about this new facility being built near a historic black cemetery. It will be located near South Lee and Woodsley Road. The team at Honor Thy Roots Cemetery Preservation, Inc., they say they're concerned about preserving their history. They say about 70 people are buried there. Some were former slaves. It remains a black church, or the remains of a black church is nearby. Take a listen.
It hurts because we're out here advocating and trying to save these cemeteries, and they're constantly ignoring us. Nobody's hearing us.
Again, so the mayor of Hampton tells us that the city is working to preserve the cemetery and honor the legacy of those who are laid there. The cemetery is its own property, and there's a 50-foot buffer, she says, between it and the data center that is set to be built. All right, before we go to break, this is going to impact you if you are on the roads, as if traffic is already not a problem here in Atlanta. There are some road closures for this weekend between Paces Ferry Road in Cobb County and South Atlanta Road. Here's what we know from GDOT. The closure will begin tonight starting at 7 and will be in place until Monday mornings at 5 a.m. So this is kind of similar to what we've been telling you about and before, when we saw it on the west side of Atlanta when it came to between MLK and Cascade Road there. They're calling it a rehabilitation project. GDOT says the lane closures are necessary to provide enough space for crews to work safely and protect motorists while large equipment is in place. So again, 7 p.m. tonight until 5 a.m. Monday morning. All right, when we come back, a dunk league sponsored by Shaquille O'Neal and some other organizations here. It was such a cool thing. We saw it, or I saw it earlier this week, and had to have someone come on and talk about it. We'll talk with them right after the break. We'll be right back. Hey there, welcome back. I'm Eric Perry for this Friday 3 p.m. news hour here. Good to have you with us. I was kind of teasing along a dunk league that's here in Atlanta. It takes place in Midtown around Atlantic Station there, and it's really a cool event. I want to bring in, I'm told, one of the youngest league members there, Dylan. First of all, Dylan, thanks for joining us here. I came earlier this week, I believe it was Tuesday night, and I was just blown away by the amount of talent that it takes. Walk us through, for someone who might not know what Dunkman is, how would you describe it to them?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, Dunkman is the first ever professional dunking league. So it is a league dedicated to professional dunkers. We've got guys from all over the world, Brazil, the UK, China, obviously lots of guys from the US as well. And it's 24 people competing in a league commissioned by Shaquille O'Neal and created by him and Authentic Brands to take home $500,000. So biggest prize in dunk contest history, happening every single Tuesday in Atlanta, OT Arena. The group stage this week is Group Stage D in Atlanta at OT Arena on Tuesday at 8 p.m. You can also stream it on TNT and HBO Max. So yeah, if you're in Atlanta, make sure you go check it out. It's an amazing week.
Okay, so how do you prepare for this? I mean, we saw some really cool moves, people jumping over different people. There's some video that's playing off the screen. How does one prepare for this? How do you think about this? How do you train to do this?
Yeah, so I mean, all of us have really been preparing our whole lives. Like I remember when I was really young, I was just messing around on low rims, learning all these dunks. And now obviously it's a bit more, that's actually me right there on that car. But yeah, we're just putting in reps every single week. So I'm actually at the gym right now. I'm about to go do some dunks, make sure to practice for this. Throughout most of the year, we're just doing whatever dunks we kind of feel like doing. And then obviously once competition time comes, we're just kind of picking the dunks we want to do and then repping them out. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit different to prepare for something like this, especially with the stakes, but a lot of fun.
You know, I was really intrigued by the audience interaction for those sitting at home. I don't know if people can tell, but people are holding up different numbers, a 7, 8, 9, and 10. So after that dunk, the player dunks, you can hold it up in the audience. So you're really interactive. How important is it for you as a player on the field or on the court to feel that energy and that interaction with the audience?
Yeah, it's an entirely different experience dunking in an empty gym versus with an audience. And obviously, if there is an audience and they're not being, interactive and they're not showing support and stuff like that, it can be a lot different. And I think Dunkman, like you said, they're doing an amazing job engaging everyone, engaging the city of Atlanta. I actually went as just a fan a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was really cool the way that, afterwards everyone's meeting Shaq, everyone's meeting the dunkers, obviously everyone's engaged. And so it obviously helps out the dunkers a lot. And I think that's what's going to push this sport forward and just help everyone see that this is a real thing and just help people enjoy the sport the same way that us dunkers have for quite a long time now.
Talk about what the sport means to you, basketball, dunking, being out there on the court. For those, I was sitting in the audience and I'm like, I can't even imagine being out there on the court. What does this all mean to you? And what do you hope the audience or the fans there take away from this after they see it?
Yeah, Dunkman means everything to me. I'm super young in my career. I'm 18. Like you said, I'm the youngest person in this league, but there's been a lot of people outside of myself that have been hoping for something like this for a long time, something that turns dunking from just a hobby into a real sport. And I think that that's what Dunkman is trying to do here. Obviously, this is the first professional league. And so this is a lot different than just, your average random dunk contest around the country. This is a real league with multiple group stage events, kind of like a tournament style thing. And obviously with the biggest prize in dunk contest history of $500,000. So everyone is giving their all. Obviously everyone is going for crazy dunks, and I'm just super excited to, one, be a part of it, but then also just see that the opportunities and things that people and dunkers who have put in their entire lives for this are going to experience. I'm also super excited for people to experience this as fans on TV, but also in person if you're able to make it.
Okay, before we go, if I want to learn how to dunk, if I want to do some cool tricks or anything like that, what are some tips? What are some pointers? How can I get started? What can I learn to do?
100%. Yeah. What I always tell people is if you have a low rim, that is the greatest way to start. You're going to be, it's the law of specificity. The more you do something, the better you'll get at it. So if you can start off small, do these dunks on 7-8 foot rims and just slowly move your way up, it's going to work on, your bounce, but then also work on the dunk technique at the same time. So once you're jumping higher, you'll be able to do these dunks. That's what myself and a lot of these other guys have done. So best way to start for sure.
Okay, we need to bring you and some other people into our station and get a basketball rim up and have you show us some of your skills in person and teach some of the Fox 5 people some cool dunks there in person. Dylan, thanks for joining us. We'll put more information on our website about this. It's a pleasure talking with you, and good luck in this league.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll be there Sunday.
Of course. All right, so the championship, the World Dunk Championship there for the league, $500,000 grand prize, the largest in dunk history. So, of course, they're having different rounds leading up to that big championship. Really cool as well. I will stay in the audience because I am too old now to break any type of bone. So I'll leave it to Dylan and his teammates out there. Let's get to a live look. This is Mercedes-Benz Stadium here as we are not knocking on the door of the weekend, and I'm ready to open that door here and enjoy a little bit if we can. We saw last night, Greg, I mean, a mean lightning and thunderstorm. I didn't see any rain, but the lightning was flashing. My grandmother used to say, turn all the TVs off and it'd be still, don't even move.
Yeah, just gotta be careful out there with electronics. That's why those surge protectors really come in handy. Absolutely do. And I think we'll see some of this again. Like yesterday, some of the stuff was kind of late firing as it did, but so far everything's been favoring the northwest zones. If the folks were watching Joanne this morning, that was the area we were targeting. We said generally west we thought where the stuff was going to fire up for today. That's what we're kind of seeing so far. Notice the folks, our friends in the east like Athens, Cornelia, and over there, not really seeing much right now, but again, that could change here as we go into the afternoon. We'll go and zoom in there, some of the stuff, seeing some of the heavier rains near Cedartown, over near Rome, and getting into that area right there. Some rains falling over toward Cartersville right now. Going up here to the north, we've had some scattered showers up from Blue Ridge going over to Blairsville. LJ had a few showers right nearby. The surface coming up in Hiawassee, also getting a little wet as well. And down here to the south, the stuff's been kind of firing, but kind of dissolving. It gets fired up and then just kind of falling apart. We had a pretty good sail last hour that looks like it was coming into Atlanta, just fizzled right on out. So what that tells me is that the stuff's moving into air that's to the east that might be what we call a little cap. There's a little warm layer, so the air can't rise. It just kind of falls apart. So, but that cap can probably weaken as we get to the evening hours. So you folks in the eastern areas might see a few more storms kind of pop up a little bit later in the afternoon. So right now looking at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, again looking at some sunshine busting out there, but we're getting a little humid. But the airport's had rains nearby that's kind of kept the temperature down there a little bit. So it might be a late run at the highs for this afternoon because of that. We did have 0.01 inches fell at the airport with a little rain that went by there from that cell earlier. So, but it was definitely enough to keep the temperature in check. So I don't know if we're going to quite get that warm today officially at the airport because of that one little shower that was right nearby there, but most everybody else, it'll be in the neighborhood of this and kind of sticky here for the remainder of the afternoon as the storms kind of wind down. I was telling you, I was pointing this out. It's warmed up but nicely, but up there in the Dakotas, 79 degrees with very low humidity. And a nice cold Canadian cold front moved through there at noon. I was like, it was 72. I was like, man, we can only dream of something like that right now. But give it about a month, get us into September, we'll get some cooler temperatures down. But you can see how a lot of the country, we're still dealing with a lot of heat and a lot of humidity out there right now. But anyway, what we're going to be dealing with for the rest of the afternoon and going through the weekend is your scattered garden variety scattered showers and thunderstorms. So whatever you got planned for the weekend, go ahead and have at it. You're going to be okay. Just, use proper sense. If you're like at the pool, get out of it if there's lightning nearby. It's same for the lakes. Just have a little fun. I know the kids are back in school, but still, folks are enjoying the warm weather. And, our unofficial end of summer isn't until Labor Day weekend anyway. So let's go ahead and enjoy the rest of that. When I was a kid, we didn't really go back to school until Labor Day anyways. But anyway, looking at temperatures continuing around this neighborhood for the rest of this afternoon, and then going for tonight, really kind of more of the same. 60s up in the mountains, overnight lows down here in the 70s. And we are definitely settling into a pattern which is something we have not seen a lot of this summer. We've kind of gone from, extremely hot temperatures, we've gone to cool temperatures, we've gone to wet periods, but never really what I would call a traditional, summertime cut and paste type forecast, and that's where we're settling in here for the next week. So temperatures right around 90, lows in the 70s with that 20 to 40% range of scattered thunderstorms. So not bad for the weekend. I hope you got anything planned. You going to do anything?
Oh yeah,
other than working.
I was just going to ask if I'm people like myself. We're going outside tonight. So what should we need to know?
Make sure you have the Fox weather app on. Make sure you got that, and double check. And
leave nowhere without it.
That's right. Don't live without it, and just make if it looks like I think most folks will be fine tonight, but just never know. Watch out for those storms.
All right, some rooftops are calling my name, Greg.
All right.
Thanks so much. We'll be right back after this break. Hey there, welcome back. I'm Eric Perry. How rude of me if you're joining us. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. Welcome. Good to have you with us here on this Friday as we walk you through some of the big stories, some other stories that we've been following, not just today, but this week. An Atlanta police officer is being investigated after charges that for battery for attacking her wife. This is Ashley Malbia Burgess, who turned herself in to the Fulton County Jail there again following arrest for battery and family violence charges. We know Atlanta police investigating here as she's accused of attacking her wife. The Atlanta Police Department says she's been assigned to non-enforcement duties while this internal affair investigation there. Lawrenceville Highway, there was a wreck there with a DeKalb County officer. Take a look here. Thankfully, we're not told of any major injuries, but you can see that DeKalb County car that happened Lawrenceville Highway and Idlewood Road. Both the squad car, another car, both had some pretty nasty damage there, but we're not hearing of any serious injuries that have happened so far. So that is the good news here. All right, in North Carolina, but still afoot in Georgia, this man has been arrested there. Trayvonce Burge, 23 years old. He was arrested in connection to a death here in Rome, Georgia, but he was arrested in North Carolina earlier this week there. So he's been accused of shooting and killing 18-year-old Adam Taylor, who in Rome, Georgia. This was in Cleveland County, North Carolina, where he was arrested. Also a slew of drug charges. You can see the outline there, things that I believe they were found inside of the car there. No word yet when he will be sent and brought back to Georgia. All right, let's get you to Troup County, where there's an investigation into child abuse. Our Doug Evans has been monitoring the story. Doug, I know you just finished up an interview within the last hour, hour and a half, so fresh information for you. Walk us through what you've learned from officials.
Yeah, hi there, Eric. We've learned some new information on the arrest of 27-year-old Jordan, and I'm not recalling his last name just now, but we have a mugshot of him. Jordan Bragg is his name, B-R-A-G-G, charged with child cruelty, also aggravated battery. This is a 1-month-old child that was presented to a hospital in Meriwether County, then taken to air ambulance to a hospital in Atlanta with just grievous injuries. Let's hear from Lieutenant Stuart Smith with the Troup County Sheriff's Office on this latest information on the case.
On August 3rd, we got notification late that evening from one of the children's health care hospitals in Atlanta that they were treating a child just over 1 month old for extensive injuries. And these were what they categorized as injuries that would not have come from like an accident or a fall. There were internal injuries, there were broken bones, there were bones that were in the middle of healing, spleen injuries, liver injuries, stuff like that. And our deputies took the phone call, made the initial report, and immediately called our criminal investigators. And then the following morning, they went up to the Atlanta hospital to meet with the staff. The parents were not at the hospital at the time. They met with the staff, received the report, and then they learned that the child had been transferred from a hospital in Meriwether County by air ambulance. Once they saw the child, they transferred him up there. And then our investigators learned who the parents were, met with them on a couple different occasions, and then finally the warrants were secured for the father of the child. And he was arrested that day and brought down here to the Troup County Jail, where he's currently being held without bond on these charges.
Did the investigation reveal anything about a time frame? Was this over a period of time?
We believe it was within just a matter of a couple days where the child was seen at the hospital. It could have occurred the day before, and then the parents took it to the hospital, and then the child was transferred immediately there. We don't believe it, the child was about a month old, and so we don't believe it happened from the time it was born. We believe it was relatively soon around the time that the child was seen in the hospital.
All right, so recapping this story, Jordan Bragg, 27 years old, the father of a 1-month-old little boy. He has been charged with aggravated child cruelty, as well as other charges, being held in the Troup County Jail without bond. The good news something that I learned from investigators today is that the child is apparently doing better, in stable condition, and is expected to make a full recovery from these injuries. But Eric, they tell me that it appeared as if the child had been in a car accident, but that was not the case.
Yeah, Doug, it breaks your heart to hear that this child, especially the extent of the injuries, but I'm glad that this child will ultimately be okay. Doug Evans there for us in Troup County. Thanks so much for that, Doug. All right, we'll see you a little later in the afternoon. All right, let's get you to some other stories that we have been following overseas. The latest in Iran. They say they're moving toward a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. They say, though, that the Trump administration might not like what they have to say or bring to the offering table, that like the terms. So this comes as the president is acknowledging that there's some kind of that their munitions are running low, but says that the U.S. has not or has exactly what it needs to resume the fight if there is not a deal. At a White House event late yesterday, the president said that the Strait of Hormuz was moving along, quote, good. And while there is some movement out there, there isn't much. Well, earlier the president said talks to fully reopen the straits is coming soon. Iran says it is about to clinch a deal with Oman to divide and oversee traffic through the strait, but there might be a catch. So the good news in all of this for the administration, gas prices continue to fall overnight, even as the president warned that oil could go back up if the U.S. resumes attacks and strikes there. So, of course, that's something we don't want when it comes to the oil. Hopefully they can iron out an agreement. Taking you to Capitol Hill there, this is Todd Blanche there, the acting attorney general, lost the last little bit of cushion that he had left to survive confirmation. Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski announced that she would not support Blanche's nomination to be the nation's top prosecutor and law enforcement official there. Her decision, despite a heavy lobbying effort by Blanche that saw him make the trek to Alaska, means that Senate Republican leadership cannot afford to lose any more votes to get him across the finish line there. Given that the Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell has still not returned to the Senate, we did see reports yesterday that he's leaving a rehab facility, going back in regards to Mitch McConnell to recover at home, but there's still no word yet on when he will return to Capitol Hill or if he's able to return to Capitol Hill. In a statement, Murkowski said, quote, that the weaponization the department did not start with the administration, but has accelerated during it. And we have learned that Bill Cassidy, the Republican senator, said he will back Todd Blanche, the nomination for Attorney General. So this will likely pave the way for him to be confirmed to lead the president's Justice Department there. All right, sticking with politics, Head Start, or let's go to birthright first. The president has taken another step to limit birthright citizenship. This is after signing 2 new executive orders. One of them limits the number of people eligible for U.S. citizenship by restricting automatic citizenship for children born to anyone with ties to foreign embassies. So the other works to curb what he calls birth tourism. It increases visa restrictions for any visitors who want to give birth while they are in the country visiting. An earlier attempt by the administration to limit birthright citizenship was rejected by the Supreme Court. This happened back in June. All right, and sticking in, I guess, our youngest citizens here, the Head Start program. So many people use Head Start. They utilize the program there where there could be some changes that are coming to the federal program, our nation's youngest learners, as the Trump administration wants to shift some of the program's rules and regulations to the states. That would be things like class sizes. We're talking about teacher to student ratios, education requirements, and background checks for staff. The program was founded back in the 1960s. It serves low-income families and combats childhood poverty. Advocates and parents, they're worrying that, stripping away some of those regulations will result in some kids being left behind. Let's take a listen.
It's the foundation. It's like when you build a house, you have to have a strong foundation. That's what we need for the children too.
It reduces crime, it improves health options and health outcomes, strengthens families, and fuels our economy.
says that they have 60 days to weigh in on the changes before they go into effect. Any new rules could also face legal challenges as well. All right, let's take you out to Gwinnett County. They're doing something to make sure that the public is up to date when it comes to knowing how to not just put a car seat in, but to make sure that it's secured in and safely buckled, making sure that little one inside is protected. Maria Guzman has been out there all throughout the day talking and showing us the correct way to do so.
It's a special day here in Gwinnett County because we have firefighters and police officers here getting certified on how to properly set up a child seat, and they're using their knowledge to help other new families.
One of the biggest concerns and questions we get is, am I able to use a car seat that maybe was donated to me by a family member, or maybe one that I bought? Let's say they aren't able to buy a car seat because they might be a little pricey at the moment and they might not have the funds. And what we tell people is, yes, you can use car seats that have been donated, but the biggest thing is you need to know the history of the car seat. If a car seat's been involved in an accident, it should not be used any further, because at that point the security and the structure of the car seat won't be as safe as it was when it was brand new. Also, one thing you want to keep in mind is car seats do have an expiration date. So as long as it's within that expiration period and the car seat has no accidents, then yeah, you can use it at that point. So this right here is a rear facing only car seat, right? So this car seat is a two-piece car seat where the top piece you can basically take it with you. The child can be there. This is what you more commonly see when kids are brand new or newborns, right? And then the base, right? The base is going to be facing towards the back of the seat. And this configuration here is being installed by lower anchors, which are these little tabs here that go to the lower anchor on your car seat. Now, when you install these, you want to not only look at the manual on the car seat, but as well as the manual on your car, because the car is going to tell you where those anchor points are and where you should and shouldn't install this car seat, right? So you install this facing rear, then you grab your car seat. Now, when you look at your car seat, like I said, this right here is an older car seat that we use for the class. That way the students can go and get their hands on. But one of the things you want to look at is right here, right? So this car seat should only be used for children weighing 4 to 35 pounds and 17 to 30 inches. So if your kid doesn't meet that requirement or goes out of that requirement, let's say they start weighing a little more, but they're still within the height, whichever one you hit first, you should move up to the next car seat, right? And the best practice is you want to keep them facing rear the longer, right? The longer the better. So once the child is installed, it basically snaps in place, and then that car seat is secured once the base is secured to the car. So one of the things that we teach with these, over here you see this helps the recline angle on the car seat. You want to be mindful of that, because the incorrect recline on the car seat can put it where now your child, especially at this early age, they don't have a lot of muscles developed in their neck, around their necks, so the head tends to tilt, and you don't want that. You want to give them that proper recline that the car seat recommends at the time, and depending on their age as well. So you want to have it there where the baby is able to breathe.
And if you have any questions on how to properly set up a child seat, you're able to reach out to the Georgia Department of Public Health and ask for the Child Occupant Safety Project. In Gwinnett County, Maria Guzman, Fox 5 News.
All right, Maria, thanks so much. From buckling up in a car seat to let's take you to the plane Boeing. They have some administrations. There's a new round of inspections for some Boeing-made passenger jets here. Here's what we're learning. The FAA has sent out directives to air operators of Boeing jets for inspections of potential cracks in the aircraft's body. Now, the order applies to about 471 of certain planes there of the Boeing 737 MAX. We also know that it will take the MAX 8, MAX 8-200, and MAX 9 there if you're in aviation and you love to talk planes and that type of thing there. According to the FAA, they say that the issue was first identified on certain 737 next generation aircrafts and has not been seen on the 737 MAX fleet there. They say that it's really to make necessary repairs in order to ensure structural elements can sustain limit loads with no adverse effects there. So it says it's been working with the carriers on that issue over the last 6 years, and the new directive takes effect for air carriers on September the 10th. All right, rising temperatures could impact your travel here. Experts are saying that, if you're going out, of course, you might know about rain, snow, strong winds might impact your travel plans. You might have to get bumped off your flight, but extreme heat also could impact as well there. Here's what we know. They say hot air is thinner than cooler air, so that makes it hard for the plane's wings to create lift and for jet engines to generate the thrust needed for takeoff. So while some more desert-like climates like the U.S. Southeast may be used to heat-related disruptions, researchers say human-caused climate change may make it more delays common, and even less extreme heat can cause similar challenges at airports with higher elevations or even shorter runways there. I'm thinking maybe, in DC, DCA, that's a very known short runway there, so that could cause some issues as well. This actually might be from one of those airlines there. But while the federal administration does not single out the maximum temperature for takeoff or anything like that, it says it's really dependent upon the jet, the make, the model, the year, and also the airport's altitude there. So it's not just snow, not just rain or thunderstorms that might disrupt. You also have to worry about hot air and the temperatures around. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some football, take you out to the Falcons training camp as that is continuing. And we have a live shot up of some high school football. School is back in session. We'll talk you through some of that when we come back. We'll be right back. Hey there, welcome back. I'm Eric Perry on this Friday. Good to have you with us. If you're joining us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, Sidekick, flip phone, whatever you have, joining us for Fox Local, we welcome you in to this 3 p.m. hour there. I want to get you outside to a live look. Believe it or not, football season just around the corner there. This is a live look here in Cartersville for the McEachin High versus Cartersville scrimmage football game. It's in the preseason now. High school football, the regular season, the game start October 21st there. Looks like some dark clouds coming in, so they might get some rain. You can see the flag moving there in the wind. Again, this is in Cartersville, the McEachin High School Cartersville scrimmage as preseason's happening, but the high school football regular games, High Five Sports around the corner. August 21st is when all of that kicks off. This year is really moving by. All right, sticking to the gridiron, I think is what the football people call it out there. Let's go out to the Falcons training camp, as this has been a big week to talk about it as well. We have a one-on-one with the linebacker with Justin Felder. Let's get you to that.
Here with Falcons linebacker Channing Tindall. First of all, how's camp going for you so far?
Camp's going pretty good so far. Just trying to take it first year here, so just trying to absorb all the knowledge that I can and just be a good teammate to all my teammates.
You come in, what's the biggest thing you've learned about the Falcons organization in year one?
Consistency. So every day is Groundhog Day. We're doing the same thing constantly, but every day we're trying to get 1% better on that one thing and don't make the same mistakes every day.
Tell me about that linebacker room. Who have you leaned on, as you learn a new defense, learn a new team, a new facility?
All the linebackers in the room are great, but I want to say Devon Diablo. He just has a lot more experience than everybody else in the room, and he's been playing that main Mike position, and just leaning on him, just get a feel of like what it is to be a Falcon outside of just the playbook too has all been great for me.
Yeah, what's Devon like just as a guy to be around? Because we all saw him last year just explode on the scene.
He's a laid-back type of guy. He's cool. He's like a down-to-earth. He don't say too much, but he's very personable when we're talking to him.
How do you view your role as training camp's been evolving so far?
They pat me a little bit everywhere at the Mike and Will position. They're playing on the edge a little bit too, so I'm just take wherever they want to put me, that's where I'm gonna be.
And that seems like a thing for Jeff Ulbrich, is moving guys around. We've seen that quite a lot. Is that something you expected, playing Mike Will on the edge?
Yeah, wherever they wanted me to be, I was ready for anything, so it really didn't matter to me.
Do you like that, trying to get after the quarterback a little bit, getting opportunities on the edge?
I do. I definitely do. I love the rush, so yes.
You've also earned a reputation through your career as a key special teams player. What does it take to be a reliable, valuable contributor on special teams?
Just handling the fundamentals for real. All special teams is really fundamental, so just knowing how to tackle a base form or a juke or get past the defender. It just all comes down to the things that you learn when you first start learning football.
We're 1 week away from the first preseason game, which is crazy to say. It seems like it's coming up so soon. How do things shift around camp when you're actually preparing for an opponent?
We take every day like it's any other day. So we go 100% every day. So I'm taking it like it would just be any other day of practice because I give my all every day. So it's nothing new for real.
Got to ask you, as a UGA guy, we're of course covering the University of Georgia a ton. How do you look back on your time in Athens and how it shaped you into the player you are today?
Just the grind of everything, from a mental and physical standpoint. Georgia, especially just being with Coach Smart and those boys down there, that was like a constant grind. Something I didn't know about myself that kind of brung it out, and so it prepared me for just the league in general, just the constant grind. You have to be on your tiptoes every single day, regardless of what the outcome might be.
Can you believe 11 years for Kirby that he's been there? This is going to be year 11. You were right there in the middle. I mean, do you feel like he's mellowed out at all?
Coach Smart's still Coach Smart. I haven't seen him in a while, but he's still gonna get on them boys. He's still gonna be him. He's still gonna be a coach, which I feel like you need in order to be here on the next level for real. So I wouldn't take anything away from him from that standpoint.
Can you believe a Kirby Smart team is gonna be wearing all white helmet, white jersey, white pants?
Hold on, I didn't even know about that.
Oh, we're breaking some news here.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
Right?
We've been asking for that for years now, so I'm happy and excited to see how they're gonna be fresh to those.
It's week 2, so Western Kentucky, they're gonna wear the all white. Do players lobby for that? Because you see all the recruit pictures in the all white.
Man, you've been asking for different outfits for ages, man. It's just always been them silver breeches, man. But hey, change is change. Well, I guess Coach Smart is changing a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. I love that he says silver britches there. Congrats to him, and we're looking forward to hopefully a really successful year of Falcons football. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get you to some last-minute stories that you need to know. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Before we go, let's get you to a live look. This is of the Senate floor here. There is a laundry list of things for them to do here. They're racing. They wanted to get to a summer recess, but again, they just have so much that they need to do, including a vote on the Russia sanctions bill, finalizing a plan to avoid a government shutdown that could come in October. We remember last year, so many people were impacted by that, and a confirmation vote for Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche, which we talked about a little earlier today. Looks like that might finally find a way to pass there. So his confirmation is a serious jeopardy of failing, with a number of Republican senators saying they are vote no, but we've learned that someone has maybe changed their opposition, and that might clear a path for that to go through. So today was supposed to be the first day of a 5-week recess for the Senate. Instead, they are having to really stack the votes to get through so they can get out of town there. So we'll continue to monitor that and work our way through that. All right, you know where I want to take you to? Let's take you to Chicago. That is where they are doing something I always find so cool, as 90,000 rubber ducks are splashing down in the Chicago River. That's always so cool to see there when you see all of those ducks just going in there. So again, these are 90,000 rubber ducks dropped into the river, and it's to race in the annual Chicago Ducky Derby. It raises money for the Special Olympics Illinois. So the ducks were poured into the river. That's off of the Columbus Bridge Drive Bridge here. I wish Alex Whitler was there. She has Chicago ties. She could walk us through with her eyes closed everything in Chicago. But they float around for about 15 minutes before a winner and a runner-up are picked. Special Olympics Illinois helped athletes with disabilities with special needs there. Chicago always doing cool things. They also, for St. Patrick's Day, they dye the river green. They really go really hard. The hashtag Shy Ducky Derby there. So far, the Derby has raised more than $480,000. All right, so this next story here is something we talked about last night on The Pulse. It's something that I talked about with my friends in the newsroom. It's something I talk about in my sleep. What do you keep your temperature on inside of the house? Now, people recommend that, and I don't know who these experts are, that 78 degrees Fahrenheit is where you should keep it. But most people who have their common sense are not doing such a thing. They're keeping it at a much lower temperature. New data says sleep wellness brand The Bear Mattress, they found the U.S.'s ideal sleep temperature is 67. I like to keep my house at a 68, anywhere between that and 70 degrees. Anything over that is just too hot. More than 2,000 adults say they took part in this survey here, which aimed to look at sleep comfort, temperature preferences, and bed temperatures as well there. So 78 degrees, I don't know who is doing that other than Satan's helpers, but you know, whatever makes you sleep well at night there. All right, well, we hope you get you a nap in on something lower than 78 degrees here on this Friday. It's been a pleasure to join us for this 3 o'clock hour. Thanks for joining us here, and thanks for having. We're glad that you've joined us here as well. Of course, Fox 5 News at 4. Christine Spiro coming up next. We hope you have a good and safe weekend. We'll see you back here tomorrow as well.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts right